Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Congratulations to Ebes over on D-Live for first comment of the day. You did it, Ebes. Congratulations. All right, folks, we are going to get the show started in just about a minute here, but I want to remind you, head on over to CanaryCry.Party. CanaryCry.Party, your exclusive place for everything Canary Cry News Talk. Yeah, that's right. Sign up for the mailing list. You're going to want to do that because remember, the show notes compilation email will be going out here soon, and you don't want to miss it. Join the decentralized power structure of tracking everything that we track here on Canary Cry News Talk. And other than that, I think it's time to go. Let's get the show started. Stay hydrated, fix. Stay hydrated. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 20th, 2021. This is episode 378. And today, Beastbot. And Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ and boxer. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you news. The best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And there are some people in the chat wondering if we're on YouTube. We are on YouTube on the Canary Cry
Where have you been?
News Talk. You know, I've been getting a lot of messages recently from people. Emails.
Just noticing that the YouTube has been deleted.
Yeah. Which is, I understand, people aren't on top of it all the time. And maybe every few weeks they're like, oh, I wonder if there's a new Face Like the Sun video or Canary Cry News Talk episode on the channel. And they go look for it. And whoosh, it's gone. It is not there. So.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to tune in more often, folks. But yes, in case you were wondering, there is technically a Canary Cry News Talk channel on YouTube, although we got dinged in record time, but I think you can still follow it.
Yeah, you can follow it. You can subscribe, like, share, do all that stuff.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. Gonz, going back to your intro there, I love the complete lack of adjectives when you said boxer. Just boxer.
Just boxer.
Not, boxer in training or contender or improving, just boxer. Well, I mean, that's quite a claim, calling yourself claiming the title boxer. Do you feel like a boxer?
No, not quite yet, but
okay, you're just
my coach
faithing.
My coach Rudy over there knows my name now, which is a thing. Because
his name is Rudy?
His name's Rudy, yeah.
That's the best boxing coach name. Are you sure you're not in a movie?
I feel like I am sometimes when I'm in there. Because he'll grab the bag and he'll tell me to keep going. Keep hitting. Go until you can't anymore. Oh, it's
quintessential old man boxing coach guy name.
Yeah, and
Rudy.
And he knows my name now. And he always looks at me. You know, he's like, work off that donut, and I'm like, I didn't eat a donut, but I guess you're calling me fat or something. I don't know.
Work it off, Gons. Does he call you Gons or Gonzo?
Gonzo
or Ginzo?
No Italian slurs in this boxing ring.
All right, good.
Or Jim.
All right, well, should we check in on some intro clips here? What do you got for us?
Yeah, let's jump right in. And Trudeau making 2 episodes in a row at the top, and
he's on a roll.
He's on a streak, folks. Trudeau on his own streak on the show, and this is a little bit of a longer clip, but I don't know. He's speaking at some kind of rally, and here's what he had to say.
You deserve better. You deserve a government that's going to continue to say, get vaccinated. And you know what? If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
Hold on. If
I know.
You're vaccinated, how are you at risk?
It's an easy thing. I know. Well, it's the logical inconsistencies. It's one of the big lies. You know, you just repeat it over and over and over that unvaccinated people put vaccinated people at risk. Despite this all logical consistency.
There's just none. There's no logic here. But he keeps going. He rolls on for about another minute.
Well, notice what I'm paying attention to is the cheers in the background, like what the response to this is, because it really is. I mean, it's sick, you know, even as a prime minister, right? That's what he is, who's trying to get reelected right now. You want to pay attention to like the reactions of the crowd. It sounded like there was one teenage girl like applauding.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. It happens on both sides of the argument here. There was a clip. We don't have it, but there was a clip with some doctor saying that people are going to die in the next 6 months to a few years, and after he's finished with it, from the vaccine, and afterwards there's like a crowd like yeah, and it's like, did you just? Are you cheering on people dying or what? Like, it's a weird thing. So
a surprisingly rousing
there was a
round of applause.
Yeah, but
right, keep going with this guy.
Trudeau continuing on here.
We need to be strong in the decisions we're taking going forward, and we need to put people first, which we have always done. And I'll be honest, you know, like I do, there's lots of people out there who don't agree with that.
Wow.
And the reality is, that's okay. We're in a democracy. People can make themselves heard. And that's part of why we need to have this moment for people to make that choice for the future. The counter to tyranny is democracy, is elections. And that's exactly what we're putting forward, because we have put Canadians at the forefront of everything we've done. And we know that's what we're going to continue to do. So I need you, all of you, to keep stepping up. I need you to talk to your neighbors and talk to your friends. Talk to those folks who are still wondering whether they should get vaccinated, and tell them, yes, they need to get vaccinated so we protect ourselves, protect our communities, and protect our kids who can't yet get vaccinated.
And he just goes on and on and on. I think it's interesting that in this clip, he's like, talk to your neighbor. And then from the New Zealand...
don't talk to your neighbor.
Don't talk to your neighbor. Both pushing the jab, by the way. It's different tactics there.
Which is it? Which is it?
He reminded me of... he should get into World Wrestling. The World Wrestling... What is it? WWE? What is it now? They keep changing it.
I don't know, but you're talking about he's putting a lot of sauce on that speech, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a lot
of just really trying to, which on one hand, of course, he's trying not to be boring. You know, he's wearing like a Letterman's jacket. He's trying to really get this vibe going. But it's always kind of a dangerous line to walk, because whenever you hear, again, look, I know people get in trouble for making the Nazi comparison, but in every speech of Hitler, making a speech, he's always all worked up and yelling.
Yeah, he's
and
always yelling.
talking about the good of Germany, and all. Meanwhile, like talking about ostracizing a whole part of the community and how one group of people is better than the other, and just talking in this rousing, yelling voice. I'm just like, you got to be careful as a politician, not to draw too many comparisons there.
Maybe he should get roided up and take a little, do some ads for some Slim Jims.
Never do a Slim Jim.
It's like the only level he has
vibe,
left.
Doesn't he?
It's just one notch away from that level there. Mm-hmm. All right. So good job, Trudeau. You've made the top of the show twice.
Wow.
And this next clip here is from Australia, ABC Australia. And I'm just going to play it. There is a little bit of a gap of silence, or just, I don't know, fuzz sound, which is very strange. And
But that was the live. I mean, that's all part of this.
I know.
It's like,
I know.
I'm a weird moment of silence in this news report.
All right, so here it is. We're just going to leave it in there, and hopefully you can hear it.
As Queensland Parliament, the state government announced the proposed legislation today. It's in part due to the stabbing of a police dog during an arrest in Brisbane last year.
Okay, some people wearing masks talking. Still talking.
Recent outages have...
Okay, I don't know if people just listening...
You kind of stepped on it a little
I did.
bit.
Okay.
Go back, play it one more time.
Hails. So for those of you just listening, so it's the anchor says the report about the police animals, and then it just shows for like 20 seconds. It shows these three, I don't know who they are, police officers, politicians, I don't know who they are. They're in suits with masks on. They're like talking on the lawn,
standing in a circle. And the one thing that looked kind of suspicious is, two of the guys are wearing just regular suits, black suits, white shirt. One of the guys is wearing black suit, black shirt, and black tie. So he's all blacked out, very reminiscent of like either a Bond villain or the, who's the guy who runs the Church of Satan currently? I don't know. I forget his name, but he wears a black suit, black tie, black shirt.
I don't think he has a tie because I see some of the buttons.
I can't really tell. It's all black on black.
Yeah, yeah, it is tough.
I think he is wearing a tie. No, maybe. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you're right.
But it just
I think
looks
he's got
funny.
a bow tie or some kind of weird headband or something around his neck. Anyway, it's all black. And yes, what you heard there was a sudden cut from that to a, I don't know, looks like a high school mockery thing of a satanic ritual. There's three people, one on a keyboard.
Well, so did you do the reading about this?
What reading?
Did you read any articles about?
No,
what
I didn't know there was an article on it.
So this footage is from a high school, because there is the Noom, I believe it is. Oh gosh, now I need to look it up. But it's something like the Noom Satanic Temple is fighting a legal battle to try to be able to teach like satanic classes in a high school. And so this clip was from a different news story. And yeah, it looks like a high school auditorium, and it's all washed in red light. There's an illuminated upside down cross. There's a table with the Baphomet symbol, upside down pentagram on the front. There's some candles. There's a man in a black robe. There's a woman in a black robe. And hilariously, another woman sitting at a keyboard as if they were singing some sing-alongs. And yes, this gets randomly inserted into the silence of this newscast about God knows
police dogs arresting people for not wearing masks or something,
making it illegal to hurt police animals, which I would have assumed was already the case, but okay. But yeah, about 5 seconds of silence, and then hail Satan, and it switches back to the newscaster, and she is dead face, poker face champion and just continues on with the next newscast.
So here's my theory, okay? Because this kind of thing doesn't happen randomly. I mean, I guess you can make a mistake if there was footage back there.
Somebody's in charge. I mean, somebody in the control room. I mean, that doesn't happen out of nowhere. Somebody either made a mistake or was trying to put something on air.
So to me, it's really hard to believe that, there was some illuminist was like, slice in this clip of Hail Satan in the news tonight, Mm-hmm. Or I think it was more, I tend to lean towards, this is somebody that's in Australia, maybe a disgruntled employee. If it wasn't just like an outright mistake, which is possible, but I don't know, hard to believe. Some disgruntled employee that wants to prove a point or something and decided to, just have a little moment and splice that in there to protest from within.
Yeah, possibly.
To show how, satanic the whole system that is unfolding in their country is or something.
Right. It was either a big whoopsie doodle by somebody in the control room or, I mean, it's interesting comparing it to the footage right before where it's the three men in suits wearing masks. And, there's theories going around with the masks that it's like part of satanic rituals and that's why they want us all to wear masks. So maybe he was making a statement about the mask wearing. I know I saw a lot of tweets about people talking about the stabbing of the police dog had to do with some satanic ritual. Yeah. I mean, I think most likely it was just some control room guy getting froggy. But who knows? It certainly made some waves on Twitter.
Yeah, well, they got the attention they were looking for, and who knows what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah,
the punishment.
And the reason people are doubting how it could be a whoopsie doodle. I mean, we've worked in control rooms of media organizations, and I mean it's easy. Like I said, because the footage was from another news story that was being done about the new satanic temple. They had the footage on hand.
Right. And was it the same day, though? Or was it a couple days apart or something? Because that would make a difference.
I don't know.
In accessibility.
But, the footage is in the system.
Right.
It could have been a whoopsie doodle where, he had all that dead air.
Yeah, that was already a whoopsie.
Yeah, some control guy spilled his coffee or isn't paying attention. He's getting yelled at. Those control room directors. They get
but what are the chances of
angry?
You're in that situation. I've been in that situation. I know you have. We've all been in those situations. Well, not we all, but in the tech booth where something's supposed to happen and you're like, and you have this crazy anxiety attack almost, and you start hitting buttons and you start pulling faders, and you can get yelled at.
The tech director is yelling at you, and you press the wrong button, and you start playing a different different clip, and it's just a downhill from there. My thing though is, what are the chances of it going to Hail Satan? Like the chances of that right there is very little to me. I think there's a little more intention involved there. That's just my opinion, but who knows? No, I think yes. There is somebody. The guy at the switcher was, disgruntled. Had a point to make. But we'll never know unless that guy reaches out. Maybe he listens to the show. I don't know. We got a lot of Australian listeners.
Yeah.
But with the way that Australia is going, was this Australian?
Yeah, Australian. ABC in Australia, I believe. Yeah.
The way Australia is going, you're going to have a lot of disgruntled people.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is like, hey, I'm going to make a point. I'm sick of this stuff here. We're going to, say something about it. And that was their way to protest. We hear you, tech guy, in the control room at ABC.
Yeah.
In Australia. Anyway, there you go.
Okay, well, I think it's time for the Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's time for the Flippy update. If you're new to the show, Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, of course, everybody knows we've got a new bot on the scene, and it comes from the man himself, Elon Musk, who on AI Day revealed or unveiled, dun dun dun, the Tesla bot. And we've got a video here you're going to play. I don't know what audio is on this video, but some specs here for you. It's 5 feet tall, 8 inches. It's got a screen for a face. It's got 40 electromechanical actuators, human-level hands, 2-axis feet for balancing. And boy, Tesla, as usual, or Elon and Tesla, as usual, has made the sleekest looking robot that we have ever seen. Now, has not been rolled out in prototype form yet, but it was a big reveal. You want to try playing the clip?
Well, I have the, I think I should have updated some of the notes there because I have a TechCrunch article that sort of outlines some of the main talking points.
Oh, yeah, I had something else coming up here too.
Okay.
I have a New York Post article.
Okay.
What did you have? Something specific?
Well, I have Elon talking about it, so we have a clip of that. Let's hear what Elon had to say here.
The Tesla bot will be real. But basically, if you think about what we're doing right now with the cars, Tesla is arguably the world's biggest robotics company because our cars are like semi-sentient robots on wheels. Neural nets, recognizing the world, understanding how to navigate through the world. It kind of makes sense to put that onto a humanoid form. We think we'll probably have a prototype sometime next year that basically looks like this. And it's intended to be friendly, of course. We're setting it such that it is at a mechanical level, at a physical level, you can run away from it, and most likely overpower it. So hopefully that doesn't ever happen, but you never know.
That is so not reassuring.
Well, he knows his audience. That's
Apparently.
for sure. And, the problem, I mean, I think he made a good move saying what he said because, of course, he's been the one in the past he's been the main propagator of public concern over AI taking over the world, with his famous quotes about AI going to kill us all.
Summoning a demon, isn't that what he said?
Yeah,
Was
he
that
did
him?
refer. He has had conversations, that refer to, I don't know if he used the word demon.
Oh,
but
he did. 2014, summoning the demon with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, there you go. So famously sort of afraid of AI, which has been sort of comical considering everything he does. But I think this was actually a really important point for him to talk about because you see Boston Dynamics, you see all these other robot companies, and they're specifically making the robots to do physical labor that humans can't do. I mean, they're bragging about how strong they are, how fast they are, how superhuman they are. And that's the big concern. It's like, well, if they're so powerful, then we have no hope. So, I think you very purposefully made a point to mention like, oh, don't worry. We're going to make them slow. We're going to make them weak. Your grandma could pin this thing down. So, yeah, there you go. I mean,
Gordy, people are mentioning in the chat, wasn't that Gordy Rose? Gordy Rose said that we are summoning entities.
Yeah.
Like the H.P.
And
Lovecraft.
he was talking about with quantum
computing, yeah.
Right, yeah. So there you go. I mean, this is the, as usual, sleekest looking robot that's ever been sort of proposed. There is no prototype. They're hoping to make a prototype next year. And it's interesting because you see a lot of the comments back and forth about this, about, oh, it'll never happen, to, Elon never makes the things that he says he's going to make. And it's like, have you not been paying attention? He's literally made everything that he's talked about making. Now, look, we have a complicated relationship with Elon on this show, much like we do with all robotics.
You have a weird fanboy aspect of yourself with Elon.
He's doing very impressive things, but he's also bringing about the end of the world while joking about it on Twitter. But I mean, the dude has basically brought to, if not market, at least to concept, everything that he said he would do. I can't think of one thing that he talked about that he hasn't done. Can you?
His gigafactories, his 100 gigafactories that'll power the whole Earth.
The gigafactories are up. There's
all 100 of them?
There's one in Nevada. There's one going up in. No, there's not 100, but he's making them. They exist.
Okay, but he said 100.
Guns.
You just asked if he's fulfilled his agenda.
You know that is outside the realm of the question that I was asking. He's building the gigafactories. Right. He has a bunch of them. He's building another one in Berlin. I'm just saying, people say this guy doesn't deliver on his promises. So far, he's delivered on all of them, or is in the process of delivering on all of them. I think it is very possible that these Tesla robots will be the first humanoid, commercially accessible robots on the market. I think everybody's moving too slow. I think he's going to do it. Okay.
Well, I don't disagree with you there, but it was interesting because I had to go to the bank this morning. Banks. But the little shopping area, the shopping center where the bank is at, I noticed that all of a sudden there was this Tesla charging station with 12 charging stations all like lined up. That was not there before. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I guess people drive Teslas around here, but
it's like the most popular car now.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty Teslas on the road, by the way, where I live.
What do you mean dirty?
They're just dirty. Like, go wash your car, man. Come on.
Cons. We're in a pandemic, man. You can't wash your car.
What? That's the one thing you should be able to do. You're sitting at home all day. All right, so this TechCrunch article talks about the Musk Tesla bot is coming. One of the things he mentions is that this can help with universal basic income. And he actually says that. I'm trying to find the quote here. There it is. In the long term, I do think there needs to be universal basic income, but not right now because the robot doesn't work. So that's his pitch. I did find it interesting that Yahoo did a little kind of a post report on the Tesla bot, and this guy here, I don't know his name, on Yahoo Finance had an interesting perspective that I want to share with y'all.
And the other thing they announced, which is more tangible, is their new D1 chip, which is an AI chip that they're developing in-house that they will be using to better work out some of the issues with self-driving capabilities on their vehicles. And that's something that I think is important. And this really just kind of is meant as a means to attract new people for Tesla's AI efforts, as well as their kind of efforts in different ventures that they're working on. I do think it's worth pointing out that this comes just a few days after the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration announced that they were investigating or launching a probe into 11 crashes of Teslas using at least autopilot, or in some instances, perhaps it's full self-driving mode, which crashed into emergency vehicles. A lot of them, of course, happened at night. And this is kind of something that's thrown Tesla into the conversation again about whether or not they overbrand what they offer, autopilot and full self-driving mode. Sound like you can use them without being attentive, but specifically when you look at the support page for both of those, they say in no uncertain terms that you need to pay attention while using these modes.
So there's a little PR work there too from Elon. Maybe the whole bot thing was kind of in his back pocket to present, and he decided to do it as part of the AI chip. And because nobody talked about the AI chip, everyone's talking about the bot. But also to kind of deflect away from the criticism that came out with the 11 crashed Teslas and the investigation that they opened up. So yeah, just a little bit of.
I'm surprised it's only 11.
It's not bad.
I mean, look, I'm not. Again, I get put in this position where I sound like I'm defending Elon Musk. He does not need me to defend him. I'm just saying, if it's only 11 crashes, when you think of how many car crashes there are in America every single day, and only 11 of them have been self-driving Teslas, the stats on that actually work out pretty well in the favor of the self-driving cars.
All right.
Again,
Elon fanboy. Can you get your Elon T-shirt?
Somebody's got to come at Elon with sort of a rational mind. I see a lot of people just ragging on Elon because it's the popular thing to do. But when you actually look at the stats, boring company. He's done it. He bores tunnels better than anybody else.
There's no where's the connector between LA and San Francisco in 20 minutes? Where's that whole? Is that a California legislative barrier that stopped him from doing it?
It's more, he can't just like rogue take his little mole machine and go digging around everywhere he wants.
No, I thought.
Yeah, that's a whole legislative thing.
All right. So down with Newsom again. Newsom in the way again.
Newsom's holding them back, man.
Is that why he left California?
Anyways, I'm just saying that people, it's fun and popular to sort of like make fun of Elon, but I think you're doing a disservice to yourself because you need to pay a lot of attention because so far he at least has incrementally been delivering on every one of his things, including Neuralink. I mean, it's not overnight you completely change the paradigm of human-computer interaction, but he's been making steps. We covered the happy little piggies live on the show, and he just keeps moving forward. So I would not underestimate the ability of Tesla to get this robot out. If it's not the first, it's because some other company panicked and put their robot out to have it out before Elon.
Yeah, well, I think he's using it partly as a recruiting tool too. I think he had mentioned something about, help us build it.
Totally. People, I mean, the atmosphere working for Elon is horrendous. People quit all the time because he's sort of a neurodivergent psychopath who does not make a good sort of manager of human emotions in the workplace.
I don't think you should lump my criticism of Elon in with everybody else who's just bashing on him for whatever reason. I am coming at it from a much more concerned level of, looking at transhumanism, looking at the technocracy and all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing it because it's like, oh, look at this foolish Elon. It's more like, dude, this guy clearly has more behind him, whether physically or spiritually, as some kind of thing pushing his agenda. One man gets to be a billionaire. I know, but you make it sound like he's just so amazing. He's just so wonderful.
No, see, now you're misreading me like an internet troll, Gonzo.
Oh, okay, you're calling me internet troll now.
Do not underestimate Elon.
I am not underestimating him.
Hold on. For the reasons that you're naming, which is he's got a lot more behind him than just being an individual person. And he is empowered in ways that others are not to bring on the technocratic future. And what more perfect of a guy to bring on the technocratic dystopia than someone who has a veneer of fear about AI taking over the world? I mean, it probably will be these sleek little Tesla bots that come marching down the street to take your unvaccinated children away.
Not these ones, because apparently you can run away from them and overpower them.
Yeah, but they can, a bot with a gun.
Beef it up.
You gotta. They might have tasers.
That's the thing
tasers shoot out of their eyeballs.
That's the one thing. They're 5'8". They're 125 pounds. He said you can overpower them, but how agile are they going to be, and how quick are they going to be? If they're sleek and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just robot ninjas.
weaponize them. He just gets a bunch of tasers.
Yeah.
Tasers shooting out of every corner.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, there's your Flippy update. Watch out, folks. The robot apocalypse is coming.
much sleeker than people expected, too.
Yes, much more good-looking than the Boston Dynamics bots. By the way,
yeah.
I saw a blooper reel. Somebody sent me a blooper reel of the Boston Dynamics video where they're parkouring all around. It's hilarious watching these little guys beef it super hard trying to jump from platform to platform. Apparently, they're not as impressive as the video shows.
Well, the video is the highlight reel. It's not the attempts. Okay, so speaking of the beast system.
Speaking of the beast system. Beast system.
We're going to get into a really weird story about a brain that's going in a vat and whatever. But before we do, I just want to play this clip. This is actually from May of 2020, so it's a little bit older. I just learned about it. This is somewhere in, I want to say, oh my gosh, where was it? I think I want to say Australia, but I could be wrong. But it's a clip of a man who is at some kind of protest, and he gets arrested in the middle of his speech. But what he was reading during his arrest is kind of interesting.
When I was 10 years old, my dad sat me down and he said to me, I want you to listen to this. There's going to come a day where they're going to tell you to put a microchip in you.
No. Yep.
He goes, I want you to make me a promise. You will not accept that bit of technology. And I said, Dad, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? He goes, listen to my words. I made my dad a promise when I was 10 years old. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in...
So yeah, right.
That got rowdy.
So right then and there, these police just came out from nowhere and grabbed him as he was reading Revelation 13.
Oh, wow.
The optics of that are very interesting. Apparently he was arrested and kept overnight or something like that. But, you know, one of those clips that make you go, wow. You know, if that's not kind of the world that is emerging with all this lockdown talk and vaccines and all that kind of stuff, whether it is or isn't the mark.
You know what they booked him on?
I am not 100% sure. Misinformation,
probably.
Yeah. But crazy clip. Which leaves me.
I mean, if you know, when somebody makes either a documentary or a narrative film about this time, you know, when they start out zombie movies with a bunch of news clips and street preachers and protests, that guy will make it in there. Somebody's going to make a pretty penny selling that footage.
That I feel like this clip is Age of Deceit worthy, if you ask me.
Oh, yes, quite.
Yeah. This next story might be too, which comes from newatlas.com. Lab-grown mini brains develop basic eyes that can see.
Good, yes. We've seen these little mini brains. We've followed them for at least a couple years.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they just keep getting better and better, these little tiny brains.
Yeah, it says here, researchers have made a striking breakthrough in lab-grown mini organs using induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs. The team induced brain organoids to develop rudimentary eye structures that can sense light and send signals to the rest of the brain. The human brain is one of the most ridiculously complex things nature has ever concocted. Really? Nature concocted the brain? That is incredible. Nature is like God. I don't know. It's crazy. So to help us understand it better, scientists have been making miniature versions in the lab. Skin cells are taken from adult donors, reverted back into stem cells, and placed into a culture that mimics the environment of a developing brain, encouraging them to form different brain cells. The end result is a pea-sized, three-dimensional brain model that can be used to study development disease or the effects of drugs. Now, research led by the University Hospital Dusseldorf has taken it a step further. The team has grown brain organoids complete with optic cups, vision structures found in the eye where the optic nerve meets the retina. They grew symmetrically at the front of the mini brain, giving the organoids a striking visage. But most importantly, these optic cups were functional. They contained a diverse range of retinal cell types, which formed neuronal networks that actually responded to light and sent those signals into the brain. Lens and cornea tissue were also formed. Quote, in the mammalian brain, nerve fibers or retinal ganglion cells reach out to connect with their brain targets as an aspect that has never before been shown in an in vitro system, says J. Gopalakrishnan, senior author of the study. Using the stem cells from 4 donors, a team made 314 brain organoids in 16 batches, with around 72% of them forming optic cups. These structures began to appear by the 30-day mark and matured within 50 days, which the team says is a familiar time frame to when human embryos develop retinas. The study shows that the technique is reproducible, although further work will need to be done to keep them viable for longer in order to use them for study. They keep saying use them for study. They keep pushing how long these things develop. And there's a little image here. It shows 0 days of the stem cells, and then day 10 is the neurosphere, which is kind of interesting because the new sphere that was talked about by Teilhard de Chardin was the global brain of, the Earth, humans as the nodes to connect all. Day 34, brain organoids with primordial eye field, and by day 60, you have optic vesicle brain organoids, and you clearly some eyeballs forming. Quote, our work highlights the remarkable ability of brain organoids to generate primitive sensory structures that are light sensitive and harbor cell types similar to those found in the body, says Gopalakrishnan. Quote, these organoids can help to study brain-eye interactions during embryo development, model congenital retinal disorders, and generate patient-specific retinal cell types for personalized drug testing and transplantation therapies. While these brain organoids remain very rudimentary, if they continue to advance, they might one day raise ethical concerns. One day, Basil, they might raise ethical concerns.
But today
not
is
today
not
with
that
these
day.
pea brains that they've made. Previous studies have already detected brain waves in 2-month-old organoids, roughly equivalent to those of preterm babies. And it's possible that further development could lead to mini brains with some form of self-awareness or even consciousness. Sensory input like vision might be a key ingredient for this. It's an issue that scientists will need to keep an eye on. Oh, hey. Good job, New Atlas. So there you go. Eyeballs growing out of little mini pea organoid brains.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty crafty over there in the lab.
I have heard some neuroscientists suggest that the eyes in humans, the eyes are literally part of the brain. And they categorize it obviously a little separately, but in terms of the brain's ability to look and know where it is and all that, sense light and everything else, the eyes are the window into the outside world.
It's interesting, too, that the eyeball is one of the sort of main biological arguments for creationism versus evolution.
Yes.
The argument that the eye is so complex and so perfectly tuned that there couldn't have been a transitionary eyeball. Like, you can't go from no eyeball to eyeball in a transitionary way. There's no in-between eyeball that just kind of works a little bit but doesn't work all the way, and then you evolve to the better eye. From
the evolutionary theory of evolution standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
So It's just interesting that surely anybody trying to have this conversation now will be met with, well, scientists made eyeballs on a brain, so evolution
precisely
is true. You're like, yeah.
Precisely.
Yes,
a scientist, a creator had to create
Yes.
eyeballs.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, very interesting. Got to keep our eyes on those little brains, guys.
Little pea
looking back
brains.
at us.
I tend to think
I feel like a tiny brain is watching me.
I'm worried about the whole Ninja Turtle situation. What's that brain with the eyeballs? The bad guy. Krang, yes.
Krang, yeah.
These are like mini Krangs.
Yeah, they made little baby Krang.
Yeah, that's not good. He turns out pretty evil. He's not a very good dude in Ninja Turtles.
Well, he's misunderstood.
Well, you and your just love for villains today. It's just...
I was laughing so hard I hit my cough button.
Good.
All right. Well, let's talk about the WACCINE.
Let's do it. Oh, where is it? Here it is.
WACCINE.
WACCINE. It is a
pandemic special.
And we're going to start off with a quick clip of the director of Doom, Rochelle Walesnky, in this 9-second clip revealing what's going on in Israel.
Reports from our international colleagues, including Israel, suggest increased risk of severe disease amongst those vaccinated early.
She couldn't even say it almost. Vaccinated early.
Interesting how they say among our international colleagues, including Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So who else is there? And also, why not include them? Why not actually name them? Unless it's just Israel. It's like trying to make it sound like a bigger group than maybe it is. I don't know. This is a weird way to put it.
Either way, the data and the statistics coming out of Israel is not good right now.
I think it's interesting how these heads of departments, like the head of the NIH, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the head of the CDC, the director of Doom Walesnky, they're more of like a public-facing PR person than they are
100%.
Actually guiding the institution, or at least it seems that way. How do you have so much time to make content while you're guiding a health organization through a global pandemic?
Yeah, no, she's definitely put there as the talking head. It's not, I don't know that she's accomplishing much else. It's clear that she is repeating talking points that have been given to her. I don't think she's forming her own ideas.
Did he have anything more on this to go
Not
into?
really. I mean, the story, the next story kind of ties into it, though.
Yeah, moves into this article here. This is from Barrons.com. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot from Barrons. It is a Rupert Murdoch property from News Corp. So it's, seems to have a legit corporate provenance. But have you seen a lot of Barrons? It's a magazine, apparently. But there's a headline here. Pfizer vaccine's efficacy against Delta variant drops after 3 months, says a study. 3 months now, guys. And, I mean, keep in mind, we've just been hearing from Anthony Fauci and others that, we need a booster after 8 mons.
Eventually, it's going to be like, hey, we're better off before the vaccine. It's going to reverse course.
Well, of course, we know that's very possibly coming. But the article reads like this. The protections offered by Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine against the Delta variant of the virus that caused COVID-19 drop over 3 months, according to a study published Thursday by scholars at Oxford University in England. The study, which hasn't been peer-reviewed, was run by the UK government and examined data collected by a large-scale survey of hundreds of thousands of randomly chosen households in the country who were tested for COVID-19 beginning in November. The period in which Delta was dominant in the UK began in the middle of May. The authors of the study wrote that the efficacy of AstraZeneca's vaccine was lower than Pfizer's when Delta was dominant, but the efficacy of Pfizer vaccine dropped over time. And the authors estimated that the two vaccines will be similarly effective against Delta 4 to 5 months after receiving a second dose. That's a little confusing. Did I miss something there? They just said
think
3
so.
months, and now they're making it 4 or 5 months.
Keep reading.
Quote, the dynamics of protection varied over time from second vaccination and by vaccine type, with initially larger effectiveness with Pfizer's vaccine than AstraZeneca's, which then become more similar by 4 to 5 months due to more rapid waning of effectiveness with Pfizer's, particularly against infections with high viral loads or symptoms, the authors wrote. According to a report on the study published Thursday in Bloomberg, the observed efficacy of the Pfizer vaccine against high viral burden infection was 92% after 14 days and 78% after 90 days. Pfizer didn't immediately respond to a request for comment on the study. The study also found that people infected with Delta who had received any vaccine had similar peak levels of virus as infected people who had not been vaccinated. Oh, that's a fun little detail. The study also found that I'm just going to repeat that. The study also found that people infected with Delta who had received any vaccine had similar peak levels of virus as infected people who had not been vaccinated. That has, quote, potential implications for onward transmission risk, the authors wrote. Oh, okay.
So basically the vaccines do nothing.
Vaccinated people, spread the virus just as much as unvaccinated people. You know, I mean, the logic of this says that vaccinated people are actually more dangerous when spreading the vaccine because they feel more comfortable just, going out in public, going in enclosed spaces. Of course, that's why they're trying to get them all to wear masks and continue social distancing, because apparently it doesn't work as good as they thought it did. But you can't say that on public television. Quote, SARS-CoV-2 vaccinated still reduces new infections, but effectiveness and attenuation of peak viral burden are reduced with Delta, the authors wrote. The study comes a day after federal health officials in the U.S. announced a plan to offer booster doses to Americans beginning in late September. The U.K. is also considering a booster program, though the World Health Organization's Director General has slammed the administration, of boosters by wealthy nations. Quote, the divide between the haves and the have-nots.
Oh, it's a social issue, see?
It's right. It's a social justice issue, guys. Quote, the divide between the haves and the have-nots will only grow larger if manufacturers and leaders prioritize booster shots over supply to low and middle income countries, said Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom at a press conference on Wednesday. In a statement issued through, what he's not taking into account is that all these booster doses are probably just leftover doses that are already
it's not a new thing.
It's expiring.
Yeah, the government bought so many doses, and you don't want them to go to waste.
Yeah, we've got rolling expiration dates the past 4 months.
Wasn't there a batch? I can't remember. Maybe it was AstraZeneca where they were like, "Oh, it's good for another 2 weeks or whatever," after it was expired.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the same way that the vaccine needed to be kept in sub-zero temperatures. And suddenly, throw it in the trunk of your car and it's still good. In a statement issued through Oxford, Dr. Cohen Powles, one of the UK study's author, said the study's findings showed that testing remains important to stem the transmission of the virus. Whilst vaccinations reduce the chance of getting COVID-19, they do not eliminate it, Powell said. Quote, more importantly, our data shows the potential for vaccinated individuals to still pass COVID-19 on to others, and the importance of testing the self-isolation to reduce transmission risk. And it closes up like this. The authors wrote their finding that vaccinated people have similar peak levels of virus as unvaccinated people implied a need for vaccinating as many people as possible. Don't you just love that logic?
No, it's lacking logic as far as I'm concerned.
The logic is this. Even vaccinated people can spread the virus just as much as unvaccinated. So you got to vaccinate everybody because, as they keep saying, if the vaccinated, they just don't get as sick. So you're all going to get it. no matter what. But if you're vaccinated, then apparently won't go to the hospital or something.
But you could still spread it.
Yeah. Quote, those not vaccinated may not be protected by as substantial reductions in transmission among the immunized population as seen in other infections, making herd immunity likely unachievable for emerging variants and requiring efforts to protect individuals themselves, the authors wrote. Now, the mRNA vaccines specifically target, allegedly, the spike protein, right? Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily defense against the COVID virus. It's defense against the spike protein.
Or I thought it creates it makes your body create its own spike protein so that it's...
Yeah, so you turn your body into a spike protein factory, and then allegedly your immune system sees the spike protein, learns to kill it, and yada, yada, yada. But I'm having a hard time following the logic of... I mean, part of these variants has to be some sort of variant of the spike protein, because the spike protein is the only thing that the vaccine actually defends against. So it's this little spike protein that is learning from the vaccinated and learning how to get around the vaccine, which I don't know. I just find it interesting that the virus itself is just kind of doing its own thing. There's nothing defending against the virus. It's just its little claws that it can hook into things that is evolving or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, there's been that debate about whether these mRNA vaccines are gene therapy or not. And a lot of the jab hezzies have been saying that this is gene therapy, and then people like Reuters have come out and said, fact check, mRNA vaccines are distinct from gene therapy.
Yeah, yada, yada.
But why? There's an article I have in the additional stories. It's by Fierce Biotech. CRISPR pioneer Feng Zhang's latest work delivers mRNA gene therapy with a human protein. So... I thought it wasn't a gene therapy, but this...
Gons, you're trying to make sense out of people who have no interest in making sense. But we have something more important to talk about, Gons.
Oh, okay.
This just in, folks. A breaking news I'm seeing in the chat here, and new Maddie, too, our resident microbiologist of 25 plus years, for I think the first time in the history of Canary Cry News Talk, says I finally got something right about the vaccines.
What did you get right?
Everything I just said. The immune response for all three main vaxes are against the spike protein. And yes, the variants are mutating in this spike protein sequence. So yeah, the first vaxes are poopy now. Yeah. So there you go. I finally got it right. I'm a little uncomfortable in New Maddie with how many ellipses you needed to use in confirming my knowledge, but that's okay. I'll take it either way.
So that makes things interesting as well, because according to that Salk.edu study, the gene or the spike protein was what was causing a lot of the pulmonary issues and whatever.
Cytokine storms, things like that.
Yeah. So if that is evolving or changing or whatever, then it doesn't even matter what virus is in there. It's just
that's
what
kind of the
carries
point.
it.
Yeah, I mean, that's as we saw with the what was it called? The study that showed that the spike protein itself was toxic.
Yeah, the Salk.edu study.
Salk, yes.
I just mentioned that. Yeah.
I know. I wasn't listening. Yeah, I was gloating over finally getting something right.
It's okay. It's on tape. Maddie. It's on tape. You just saying
Roll
yes.
It back, folks. Roll it back.
I know. It's okay. So yeah, the logic is lost on even medical professionals.
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask any questions.
Just take the jab.
Don't talk to your neighbor. Talk to your neighbor. Tell him to get the jab.
Talk to your neighbor. Don't talk to your neighbor. Okay, talk to your neighbor. Don't talk to your neighbor.
Yeah. Well, I asked a question on Twitter yesterday And I wanted to get a feel for what people were thinking. And basically the tweet was, what would you think if mainstream news platforms and scientific authorities suddenly all became anti-vax, or at least vax hesitant? And I got a lot of different responses. People saying I'm still skeptical. A lot of people recognizing the divide and conquer methodology that would create. I mean, can you imagine if mainstream all of a sudden went 180 and all those people that are pro-vax lose their mainstream media support?
Oh, you mean like how it was when Trump was the president?
Yeah.
Everybody said I wouldn't take a vaccine if Trump made it.
Yeah.
And here we are.
It'd be even more crazy, though, if the news agencies. But here we go. I mean, the sentiment is moving somewhat in that direction here. I don't know that it's going to ever get there fully, but Reuters.com here. Scientists question evidence behind U.S. COVID-19 booster shot drive. This is unprecedented.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. The Biden administration's plan to provide COVID-19 vaccine boosters is based on concerns that a decrease in the vaccine's ability to protect against milder infections can also mean people will have less protection against severe illness, a premise that has yet to be proven, scientists said on Thursday. U.S. officials citing data showing waning protection against mild and moderate illness from the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccines more than 6 months after inoculation on Wednesday said boosters will be made widely available starting on September 20th. The additional dose will be offered to people who received their initial inoculation at least 8 months earlier. Quote, recent data makes clear that protection against mild and moderate diseases has decreased over time. This is likely due to both waning immunity and the strength of the widespread Delta variant, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy told reporters. Quote, we are concerned that this pattern of decline we are seeing will continue in the months ahead, which could lead to reduced protection against severe disease, hospitalization, and death. Data on so-called breakthrough infections in vaccinated people show that older Americans have so far been the most vulnerable to severe illness. As of August 9th, almost 74% of the 8,054 vaccinated people who were hospitalized with COVID-19 were above the age of 65, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Almost 20% of those cases ended in deaths. I find that interesting because we were getting all these numbers about people dying they're 99% are unvaccinated or whatever. So if 20% of 8,000, what is that? My math brain.
20% of 8,000? That'd be 2,000.
Less than that. 1,500, something like that?
Yeah, something around there. 13, 14.
And then, so if like 99% died and only 1,500 people were the ones that were vaccinated that died, then what's the number there? Like, there should be like 100,000 people dead in the last 2 months from COVID that are unvaccinated, right?
Yeah, well, what I'm getting from your point is this switch in logic, or at least the rhetoric that they enjoy. When it comes to 600,000 people have died of coronavirus.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, such a big number, so spooky. When it's like 0.4% of people who catch it. But, they don't want to use the percentage because 600,000 is much more scary. It's much more effective. But they're doing the opposite with this, which is, oh no, just look at the tiny percentage. That's fine. But really, it's hundreds of thousands of people.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, you're touching the point I wanted to make, which is that they're switching up the just the focus of the numbers and
which has been what
statistics.
They've done continuously, and we will call them out every time they do it because they think nobody's noticing, and we're noticing.
Yeah.
You can't pull the old switcheroo on us. I got one here for you.
Well, let me continue because it's not done here.
Okay. Yeah,
Based on available data on vaccine protection, it is not clear that younger, healthier people will be at risk. Quote, we don't know if the quote, "We don't know if that translates into a problem with the vaccine doing what is most important, which is protect against hospitalizations, death, and serious disease. On that, the jury is still out," said Dr. Jesse Goodman, an infectious disease expert at Georgetown University in Washington and a former chief scientist at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Where are all these doctors coming from? These FDA, like the last 2 months we heard this one narrative, and then all these doctors are being quoted all of a sudden that counter the narrative a little bit, or at least challenge it a little bit.
Well, I think they've been there all along.
I know.
They've never paid attention to them.
It's just, but why the switch now? Like, what's the purpose?
They're hitting a critical mass of doctors and PhDs, which we'll get into soon, who they're finally hitting a critical mass where they can't just talk about Fauci. Yeah. They are realizing that there are other doctors in the world who have things to say, and it's not all about Fauci.
Yeah,
maybe this signals a decline for Fauci. Maybe we should keep an eye out for a sudden decline of storyline of Fauci. Maybe he's going to get busted for something.
Yeah.
They're bringing up the farming league to see who they can, start propping up instead of him.
Yeah. To wrap this up here, it says all experts interviewed by Reuters also emphasize the need to inoculate the vast number of people around the world who have yet to access COVID-19 vaccines. Quote, "You can end up in situation where you are chasing your tail, giving more and more boosters in the U.S. and Western Europe, while more dangerous variants are coming from other places," said Dr. Isaac Weisfuss, epidemiologist and adjunct professor at Cornell University Public Health. It's just interesting how they start quoting all these doctors in an article that has them questioning the whole evidence behind a booster shot to begin with. Yeah. And why even publish that? It is fascinating that the trend or the tide's changing in terms of the mainstream narrative.
Yeah, and that's Reuters, right?
That's Reuters, yep.
Yeah. Reuters has done a pretty good job, but I mean, they're still like they're not nothing. They're still like a mainstream thing. So it is weird for them to have such a turnaround.
But it's not that big of a turnaround though, because they keep emphasizing, but still get vaccinated. Like they can't get off that perch, but they're still at least, thinking about the perch that are on a little bit more.
Well, it's like trying to turn around an oil tanker.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
It takes a long time, and you got to do it really slowly. So it kind of feels, with at least the collection of stuff that we have on the show today, that it's like the oil tanker. We've just noticed like the first degree of the oil tanker changing its direction there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are you ready?
I'm ready.
WashingtonPost.com.
Wapo.
Bezos outfit here. Headline says U.S. review of possible link between Moderna vaccine and uncommon side effects delays adolescent approval.
Thank God.
The Pfizer Moderna battle continues because it was kind of funny in the earlier articles. Oh, Pfizer wears off pretty quick. Pfizer and AstraZeneca, even putting Pfizer and AstraZeneca in the same article is dangerous because, of course, AstraZeneca, notable trash vaccine that will kill you with blood clots, not even approved in much of the world. Putting that in the same category as Pfizer is kind of a blow to Pfizer. But now we got Wapo talking about Moderna.
You can see where the money flows with each of these, with any platform here, based on who they attack. It's kind of funny.
Totally. Now, I do want to make a comment on the header picture on this Wapo article.
It's
kind of a classic. I know. What were they thinking? It's a classic sort of close-up of a pair of begloved hands giving a vaccine to a sort of disembodied arm. But it is like, they took the picture with the needle on the way out.
Yeah,
and
it's pulling
like
the skin.
The skin up. It's the most skin crawling picture.
Yeah, we're moving past that here.
Well, and keep in mind, that is part of the communication.
Oh yeah, the mind control.
Part of the mind control. So they very specifically put an incredibly triggering picture at the top of this, right there in full view of Moderna vaccine. And they put this very triggering picture. So keep that in mind. Moderna's coronavirus vaccine for adolescents has yet to be authorized by federal health officials, in part because they are investigating emerging reports that the shots may be associated with a higher risk of a heart condition in younger adults than previously believed. According to two people familiar with the review, who emphasized the side effect will still probably remains very uncommon. Probably.
Hey, and that's two people familiar with the situation. New Zealand locked down with one person getting testing positive, even though they have 11 more now or something.
You know, it's so interesting, too, because nobody, even with the AstraZeneca thing, nobody is bringing up the Salk Institute.
Yeah, why does nobody mention that?
Protein causes cardiovascular problems. It is official Salk Institute, which is a totally pro-vax organization, saying that the spike protein itself causes heart problems, and the mainstream is just going, oh, why is there so many heart problems with this vaccine that makes your body create the spike protein? Okay, moving on. The investigation, which involves the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is focusing on Canadian data. I don't know why that was funny to me.
You just pictured Trudeau. Just, here's the data.
Here's some data. Focusing on Canadian data. I think I just imagined that the data was is Canadian. Is a national Canadian. You know, he's got the hat. He's got the syrup. He's playing hockey. This data
is a person, is what you're picturing.
Data is Canadian.
Is a Canadian person.
Yeah. That suggests the Moderna vaccine may carry a higher risk of myocarditis for young people than the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, especially for males below the age of 30. 30? I thought we were talking about adolescents. They're saying anybody below the age of 30 or so? Oh my gosh. The authorities
30 or 4. I mean, come on. It's just a range.
This says a lot about millennials around 30 or so. That Washington Post is including them in an article about adolescents. Oh, these poor 30-year-old millennials. Someday they'll grow up. The authorities also are scrutinizing data from the United States to try to determine whether there is evidence of an increased risk from Moderna in the U.S. population for the condition, which causes inflammation of the heart. The two people who described the investigation spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss an ongoing review because they are not authorized to discuss it. Ooh, whistleblowers. Moderna asked the FDA on June 10th to expand the emergency use of its coronavirus vaccine to adolescents between the ages of 12 and 17, but the agency has not yet granted the request. Pfizer's vaccine was authorized for 12 to 15-year-olds May 10th, about a month after the company applied. One of the people familiar with the review... What?
Sorry, I'm just the way they wrote that, like, it's so childish. Like, Moderna didn't get the authorization, Pfizer got the authorization.
Yeah. We've got the pro Pfizer Washington Post. We've got the pro Moderna Reuters. Yeah. One of the people familiar with the review emphasized it is still too early to reach a conclusion about whether Moderna's vaccine carries a higher risk than the Pfizer shot. It's too early.
Then how was the Pfizer shot approved and not the Moderna?
That's a good point. Because Pfizer paid
more money.
Yeah. The person said the agencies must do additional work before deciding whether to issue any kind of new or revised warning or recommendation about the situation, and said the data should be available in coming days. In June, the FDA added a warning label. In June, the FDA added a warning label for the Pfizer and Moderna shots, both known as mRNA vaccines. They're known as mRNA vaccines. That's a weird way to put it, but okay. About increased risk of myocarditis, but emphasized that the virus itself presents a much greater threat of heart complications than vaccine-related complications. They almost admit the spike protein problem here. Because, let me read it again. In June, the FDA added a warning label for Pfizer and Moderna, both known for as mRNA vaccines, about the risk of myocarditis, but emphasized that the virus itself presents. So it's almost like virus itself, talking about the virus, sort of separating the virus itself, quote unquote, from mRNA spike protein factory vaccines.
Yeah, and I have the SalkEDU article up here. It's worth just, revisiting every once in a while. The novel coronavirus's spike protein plays additional key role in illness, and it confirms. Salk researchers and collaborators show how the protein damages cells, confirming COVID-19 as a primarily vascular disease.
Right.
And in the study, the researchers created a pseudovirus that was surrounded by SARS-CoV-2's classic crown of spike proteins. A pseudovirus, so not a real virus, but did not contain any actual virus. Exposure to this pseudovirus resulted in damage to the lungs and arteries of all animal models.
So it's the spike protein itself that was causing the damage.
Proving that the spike protein alone was enough to cause disease. Tissue samples showed inflammation in endothelial cells lining the pulmonary artery walls, which is close to your heart, right? Or in your heart.
Yeah.
So, there you go. I mean, this study...
Which could cause... Yeah. Wait, did they say it caused inflammation in those areas?
Inflammation in endothelial cells lining the pulmonary artery walls.
Yeah. They didn't use the word myocarditis, though.
I don't think they say myocarditis or the word heart.
I wonder how similar that description is to the description of myocarditis. But obviously myocarditis, I mean, if that's possible, myocarditis, the inflammation of the heart, is just right next door. Easily done. All right. Quote, "We have not come to a conclusion on this." One of the people familiar with the investigation said, "The data are not slam bang." What? First of all, the data are Canadian. And now you're saying the Canadian data are not slam bang?
This is a slam term against Canadians. They're coming after you, Canadians.
Canadian listeners,
you're going to take this?
I'm sorry this whistleblower says you're not slam bang.
What does that even mean, slam bang?
I don't know, but I feel like that is enough. Like the right sleuth. Like, who says slam bang? Probably this one guy working on the study.
I'm looking it up.
This may have doxed this person, this whistleblower.
It's possible. Like, slam bang.
All right, we got a leak. Who's the leak? I don't know. Dave is the only one who says slam bang.
Slam bang is actually in or Merriam-Webster here, not dictionary.com.
Oh, okay.
Slam bang, unduly loud or violent, having fast-paced, often non-stop action, or vigorously enthusiastic.
The data are not
vigorously enthusiastic or unduly loud or violent.
I like that one. The data are not unduly loud or violent.
It's not slam bang.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That would have been the name of the episode if we...
if we knew any better. The United Kingdom on Tuesday approved Moderna's vaccine for children between 12 and 17. Moderna did not immediately respond for request for comment. FDA spokeswoman Stephanie Kokomo said that although the agency will not comment on internal meetings or discussions, quote, "We can say that FDA is absolutely committed to reviewing data as it becomes available to us. We have previously communicated about myocarditis and COVID-19 vaccines, and if new information changes the risk-benefit profile, we will update the public accordingly." And the article kind of goes on and on, but I think we got it, unless there is anything...
No, I don't think I saw anything there. They kind of go... every one of these articles, they always have to land on the because Moderna and Pfizer, ultimately, they're being pinned against each other, but they're also kind of in the same game, so you can't, because if you tear down one too much, they're both mRNA vaccines. You got to toe that line. If you go too hard after them, you can tear yourself down. So they go back to the Moderna is, the problems that arise are probably uncommon, and you should still get your jab and get your jab, and also jab yourself, because you need to get your jab.
Jab yourself.
So along these same lines, I don't know. Have you noticed the theme here? That there's at least a slow, like you said, kind of a slow turnaround of the giant ship that is, the whole jab agenda. So this is DailyMail.co.uk, our favorite outlet. Short headline for Daily Mail, surprisingly.
You can't just flippantly say that. Some new listener is going to believe you.
Well, they need to listen more then.
Yeah.
Okay, so a very short headline from Daily Mail. This is like the shortest headline I've ever seen. Americans with PhDs are the most reluctant to get vaccinated against COVID, study finds.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, but that headline is short. It's only 3 lines. Usually it's like 8.
They nailed it in one sentence.
I know.
Good
it's
job.
Real good. People with a PhD are the most hesitant when it comes to getting the COVID-19 vaccine, according to a paper by researchers from Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh. Researchers surveyed just over 5 million U.S. adults in an online survey.
That's a lot of adults.
That's a lot, with 10,000 reporting that they were educated at PhD level. Well, I guess people could lie about that. Researchers surveyed just over 5 million U.S. Oh, I just read that. Yeah, okay. The report showed a surprising U-shaped correlation between willingness to get a COVID vaccine and education level, with the highest hesitancy among those least and most educated. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Of those surveyed, 20.8% with a high school education were reluctant to get the shot, and 23.9% with a PhD were against it. But the least skeptical of the shot had a master's degree, with only 8.3% of that group being vaccine hesitant. The researchers did not offer an explanation as to why so many people with PhDs were vaccine hesitant, and the paper noted that further investigation into hesitancy among those with the PhD is warranted. The report said, quote, "To our knowledge, no other study has evaluated education with this level of granularity, which was possible due to our unusually large sample of over 10,000 participants with a PhD." And it shows the graph here, vaccine hesitancy in the U.S. by education level. You got high school or less on the far left, then some college, then bachelor's, master's, professional, and then PhD to the far right. And PhD by far has the most when it comes to the vaccine hesitant. It is a U-shape bar graph here. There has been a universal assumption among many that educated level negatively correlated with vaccine hesitancy. More educated people are more likely to receive the vaccine. But researchers also found that within the first 5 months of 2021, the largest decrease in skepticism about getting the vaccine was among the least educated. The largest decrease in skepticism about getting the vaccine was among the least educated. So the people that are least educated changed their minds, right? They decided, hey, it's okay to get the vaccine. They were convinced otherwise in the first 5 months of 2021. By May, reluctance to get vaccinated held constant in the most educated group, those with PhDs. Quote, "Those with PhDs were the only education group without a decrease in hesitancy," the paper read. It attributed their refusal or reluctance to be vaccinated to slowed vaccination uptake, potentially prolonging the pandemic. Researchers concluded that the most educated people in our society are not only the most hesitant about getting vaccinated, but are also the least likely to change their minds about it. The paper noted that other hesitancy risk factors, including younger age, non-Asian race, having a PhD or less than high school education, living in a rural county with higher 2020 Trump support, lack of worry about 2019, working outside the home, never intentionally avoiding contact with others, and no past year flu vaccine. What? The paper noted other
lost me. Kind of got a little jumbly.
That's a big list of things. The paper noted that other hesitancy risk factors. Okay. Included younger age, non-Asian race. Why they're saying non-Asian race?
That's funny. Huh.
Weird. And the rest there, and Trump people. But vaccine hesitancy among American adults plummeted during the early months of 2021, and the paper showed that around 25% of adults were hesitant at the start of the year, gradually falling to 17% by May. Reasons for vaccine hesitancy vary according to the survey. The biggest drop were among Black and Hispanic populations, decreasing by as much as half, and people with a high school education or less. And it shows a bunch of graphs here. Asian Americans, in January, nearly 60% of Black Americans were hesitant to receive the vaccine, though that number has slashed in half to 30% by May, meaning the propaganda is working. Asian Americans were the group to be least hesitant by far, with less than 5% in May, more than 15% less than every other racial group. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I am a minority amongst my minority.
Yeah, people love the vax, man.
Apparently. Vaccine hesitancy among people with a high school degree or less also fell dramatically from 35% to just 20%. However, there were not strong geographical or political indicators in people who dropped their hesitancy, the research found. The data was published as a preprint in medarchive.org and has not been peer-reviewed. I like how they make sure to mention that it wasn't peer-reviewed on all these articles here that
none of these are peer-reviewed because the data, these studies are so new. I mean, it just remember at the beginning of the pandemic, it's like, if something wasn't peer-reviewed, it is misinformation and will be scrubbed from the minds of all. But there's been this shift in the acceptance of scientific information, no matter who or what it is about or who is dispensing it. Nobody is afraid to share information from non-peer-reviewed studies, mainly because, the peer review and publishing process takes, an extra, 6 months, 3 to 6 months, maybe.
Not when the World Health Organization received the study to begin PCR testing in earnest all around the world for COVID. It took 3 days to peer review. And the person that wrote the paper...
Was it peer-reviewed?
Oh, yeah. 3 days.
Yeah, but this is... yeah, okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. And there was a conflict of interest on that paper because the people who wrote it, I guess they had connections to the people on the board to approve it.
Right,
so,
yes.
Yeah.
It got pushed through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is like, if you wait for something to be peer-reviewed, it's like too late.
Yeah.
Like, you need the data now.
Well, and I think it's important to point out, too, that the articles that go against the main narrative of get your jab, there's a pandemic, they will mention it has not been peer reviewed. But the ones that do push the narrative, you have to go find out for yourself.
Yeah, pro-jab, 99.7%, blah, blah, blah. Whatever Walesnky says, they'll never mention that it wasn't peer-reviewed.
Yeah.
But you go you follow the links, and you find that it hasn't been peer-reviewed. Yeah, right. So is there more to this one?
There is, but we're done. I think we get the point.
Yeah, I think we got it. So, Gons, I'm looking at the time.
Yeah.
I think we kind of nailed this pandemic section.
Okay. Did you want to just mention the headlines for these other ones, just so people are aware of what's going on and we don't have to spend too much time on it?
Yeah, why don't you do a headline blitz?
Okay.
But I'm looking at the time, and we really need to keep moving.
Yeah. So I split in today's show notes. You'll see that there are the stories we just went through, and then I have a meanwhile, because there's not a divergence. What's the opposite of that? There's a split. There's a fork in the road in the narrative. And one side is the doctors are hesitant, PhDs are hesitant, we're not sure about the evidence of the boosters.
Vaccines aren't working.
Vaccines
that good.
don't work, whatever. And then the other side is get your jab, it's the only way to save us, we're in a pandemic. And so I have these headlines. Some are more ridiculous than others here. The New York Times headline: those anti-COVID plastic barriers probably don't help and may make things worse. The clear barriers have sprung up at restaurants, nail salons, and classrooms, but most of the time they do little to stop the spread of coronavirus. And the article states that it could be even worse because you get people spit on there. It's just ridiculous.
It's the hygiene theater, the medical theater. And it kind of seems literally like theater. When you go see a play, like a high school play, the sets are, flat. They paint on plywood or canvases, and that's really literally what these plexiglass dividers are.
Some aren't even plexiglass. The one in the picture here from this Placerville, California restaurant, literally it looks like just plastic sheets.
Yeah, it's just like sheets. Yeah, right. Yeah, which always seemed ridiculous, and you always just end up peeking your head around them anyways because you can't see or hear anything. Yeah, total theater, and it's nice that the New York Times is saying it.
Yeah, and the journal.ie headline, UK arrest warrant issued for UCD professor and anti-vaccine campaigner Dolores Cahill. And this is, a professor who spread misinformation about the vaccine. She said nobody's dying from COVID, and we don't have a health emergency and all this kind of stuff. And she actually, I think she was summoned to court, and she didn't pay bail. And so now there's an arrest warrant out for her. So that's pretty intense, on the other side of the narrative there. Like, even if you're a professor, if you don't toe the line.
You don't show up to your court date, you're going to get a warrant.
Sure.
That's what happens.
I know, but it's just, the theater in terms of the headlines.
The interesting thing about this will be if they actually serve that warrant, because as we've seen with crime in California especially, they don't really care. Yeah, you commit a crime, you get a warning, you commit another crime. Yeah, you spend a night in jail, they let you go, give you a court date. You don't show up. Yeah, there's a warrant, but nobody really cares.
Yeah, probably depends on skin color and financial, how deep her pockets are, which probably not super deep given that she's a professor.
Yeah, who knows? All right, keep going.
National Post, Doug Ford to vaccine refusing MPP. You're out of our party. Sorry, I messed that one up. This was highlighted by one of our producers, Till Billy Girl. And Till Billy Girl, I'm assuming, is a girl because there's a girl in the name. Although I guess these days, you just never know. And she sent us a note because I'm trying to buy time to open the note.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Till Billy Girl. Didn't mean to question your gender.
Weird rant to go off of, but okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so she says, "Hey guys, things are heating up here in Canada. Our Ontario Premier, he's a member of a provincial parliament. Doug Ford is now booting out. Oh, I'm sorry. The Premier, Doug Ford, is now booting out of office those MPs, members of parliament. He's a member of the provincial parliament who refused to take the jab. Rick Nichols is one of them. She says, I know Rick personally, and he's a Christian who is not afraid to speak for truth. Rick has had to put up with so much poop while he has been in office, and this tops the cake, and connected us to this article here. So apparently if you don't get the jab, you're out of the party. So political...
what party? Democrat Party?
I don't know. It's in Canada. I don't know what parties. Progressive Conservative.
Okay. All right.
It's a Progressive Conservative MPPs.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Moving on with the headlines here. This is Vice News. Unvaccinated mom's dying wish. Make sure my children get vaccinated.
Oh, of course.
It's so disgusting to me that they use a death of a person to push this agenda.
Yeah, Vice has been particularly heinous in the use of these sort of emotionally triggering stories to guilt people into getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
Or feel bad about not getting vaccinated.
Yeah, and we got an email from producer Matt. Apparently there is, and I won't read this now, there's a pastor, Brandon Halthaus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Pastor at Rock Harbor Church in Bakersfield is giving out religious exemptions to anyone who wants one, and those letters are available. I'll have them posted at CanaryCry.Newstalk.com in the show notes for people to check out. So something to keep in mind, because people are going to employers are going to start really enforcing it in the next month or so here.
Right.
So if you can fight it, try to fight it with the religious exemption.
Okie dokie.
Yep. Ready for break?
Let's take a break.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks. We're just going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because after the break, we've got the politics section. We're checking up on the bomb threat at the Capitol, the FBI study on January 6th. Was it coordinated FBI? You would know, wouldn't you? We're also going to be checking in with Afghanistan and the current effort to get the remaining Americans out. And then we'll have a couple little woke update and a Nephilim update at the end of the show. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. But until then, we're going to take a second and thank some producers. That's right. I said producers. You may have noticed no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no super secret mail enhancement supplements or freedom phones or anything else trying to convert your attention and your trust into monetary gain. That's because we are on the value for value model, folks. And the value for value model is very simple. We don't sell your attention or your time or your trust to advertising companies for our own personal gain. We don't try to get you to go use some service or purchase some product with an affiliate code so we can get some measly percentage points. We don't even try to sell you our own FBI phones or fake supplements or whatever. No. You're listening to the product. This is the product, folks. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity to put value back in. Yeah, we do the show 3 days a week for, oh my gosh, lately, somewhere between 10 to 12 hours of content every week. And we try our very best at it. And if you get any value out of what we do, whether it's entertainment, education, updates on the news that you don't have time to read 200 articles yourself, whatever the case may be, if you get value, why don't you think about putting some value back in? Not just because we want to, get donations or something like that, which, of course, this is how we feed our families. But the fact of the matter is that it is a unique system in this day and age when it's so easy for media creators and internet peoples to put advertisements, get affiliate codes, and otherwise try to connect themselves with the unfortunate systems available to content creators that monetize the trust and attention, not just for the propagation of the media, for the continuation of the product of the show in this case, but for the financial benefit of advertising companies and corporations. Why do we need to get them involved? We know this. Advertising is, first of all, the way that Google and Facebook and most of Silicon Valley makes most of their money. So why would we want to contribute to that system? As well as, affiliate codes, things like that. It's a corporate stranglehold on individual independent media creators. And the problem is they've made it so easy to get hooked into that system, and it's very hard to get out. But once you're in there and you're taking advertising dollars, we all know there are things you can't talk about. If you do talk about, you get demonetized, and you start to self-censor in order to keep the advertisers happy. But not here, folks. We have turned our backs on the advertising industry and all the other corporate ways of monetizing doing a show like this. In fact, some might say we're technically demonetized just altogether. But the value for value model gives you, dear listener, a chance to become a part of the show, to produce the show, in fact, and do it with your own free will. And it's easy. Whatever value you get out of what we do, you just pick a number, put value back in, whatever it's worth to you. Come in and become a producer of the show with that amount. Now, there's a few different ways to become a producer of the show. It includes your time, your talent, or your treasure. But a lot of our producers, they see it as a rebellion against the sort of global theology economics, of advertising and things like that. It's a way to purposefully put your treasure in a place that is intentionally trying to set you free, not just from mainstream media narratives that are so overwhelming nowadays, but also the economic system that wants to monetize your trust and attention. Why should they be involved in what we got going on here? So there you go. Gonz, you have anything to say about the value for value model?
There was a leak of people in the advertising world talking about the freedom of the citizens out there, and here's the clip.
Screw your freedom.
Yeah, there you go. You heard it. You heard it here first, folks. All right. Well, let's go ahead and thank some of our producers. Gonz, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Now, the first way to become a producer is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT. That's patreon.com/CCNT. And that's just an easy way to join up in a monthly sort of sustaining way to produce the show. But, Gonz, as of right now, I believe we have no new Patreon producers. So that makes it quick there. So there you go. If you're interested in supporting the show through Patreon, you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT. But if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. That's why we have CanaryCry.com/support.
CanaryCry.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCry.com/support is a wonderful way to learn about the value for value model. We've also got the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames over there. But you can also support the show with your cryptocurrency. You can come in with PayPal with a sustaining monthly producership if you want to just make the commitment to keep the show going that way. But if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. Gonz, who do we have coming in over at CanaryCryRadio.com/support?
Well, several people.
Stalling.
Sorry. We want to thank all of the producers, Knights and Dames, who are repeating producers on the PayPal recurring subscription model, I guess.
Wow, where's the confidence, Gonz?
I don't know what to call it, but just people that do a recurring thing. Yeah, it's really nice of you.
Support the show on a monthly basis. It's wonderful, the commitment, and we thank you when you become a producer, but we see you come in every month, and we're very appreciative.
Yep. The executive producer of today's show is Michael C.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much, Michael C., our executive producer of episode 378. And he sends a note. Now, he came in as a crypto producer here with some Satoshis. And he sends a note. Hey, Basil and Gonz, here's some sats for my tithe. I'll be sending you my accounting for knighthood later today. Sorry, it's so overdue. I'm very busy with overtime and still recovering from COVID. Had it back in December and brought back asthma. Holy smokes. Anyways, thank you for all you do for the kingdom and bringing truth to the light in such dark times. I keep you and yours in my prayers often. Shalom, and may Yahweh bless you richly. Michael Carlson, soon to be Sir Michael, Knight of the Busy Bees. P.S. I have no relation to Tucker Carlson, he says.
Oh, okay, bummer.
Don't get confused,
I thought that was
folks.
Our in to Tucker.
Yeah, we could have got him on the show. That would
right.
be fun. Got a few questions, Tucker.
Yeah.
But very exciting. That's right. We get to induct a new Knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, and that'll be you, Sir Michael. We'll be knighting you a little bit later in the break here.
I like that we are breaking ground on every episode here with either streaks or whatever it may be. In this case, Michael C. will be, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he is the first knight who would have supported Canary Cry News Talk with purely Bitcoin.
He's the first crypto knight.
He's the first crypto knight.
Yeah.
Welcome to the future, folks.
There we go. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's fun. Thank you very much, executive producer Michael C. And we'll be knighting you later on.
All right, Sir Michael, Knight of the Busy Bee. Next up is our associate executive producer, and that is Sarah S.
Sarah S., thank you so much. Coming in with a note here. You guys make my week 100 times more exciting. Thank you for all of the time and effort you put into what you do. God bless. Sarah, thank you very much. Associate Executive Producer, Sarah S.
100 times. Wow.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what life was like for Sarah
specific.
Before Canary Cry News Talk.
Well, it was 100 times less exciting.
It's amazing.
We have quantitative data on exactly how exciting it was. Thank you very much, Sarah.
We may use that 100x number in a promo of ours. We will make your life 100 times more exciting by listening to us.
We got to start adding that into the value for value segment.
Yes.
Producers say this show makes their life 100 times more exciting.
Yes. Okay, next up we have a quick snail mail.
Beep, 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 beep. Snail mail.
And this snail mail is from Lisa and Alexa, and I have the note here in my hand.
Fun.
And she has a handwritten note. Thank you so much for all your time and effort put into Canary Cry. It is very much appreciated. Thank you also for mentioning other platforms as YouTube terminated my channel.
Oh.
Didn't like my EMF detector video.
Huh.
Only 4 minutes. Anyway, Rumble it is. Gons, the egg is for your wife. Yes, there was an egg, and I have a photo of it here.
An egg?
Yes.
Like a chicken egg?
The egg is for your wife. Been painting them on and off for almost 40 years. Did a few videos on YouTube on how it's done in case someone wanted to try it. I used toothpicks and tester paint. My back is toast due to car wrecks. I am a recovery person and
multiple
genetics.
Wrecks.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's hard to it's hard to paint the eggs anymore, but did a few for the videos. This is one. So this is one of the ones she did for the videos.
Wonderful.
And by the way, I gave it to my wife, and she was very excited because it matches some of her sets of eggs that she has collected.
Oh,
so
cool.
She was excited about it. And then back to the note here. I tell anyone and everyone about the cool Canary Cry kids, in parentheses, my kid, in air quotes, is 38. Yes, I understand being a kid at 38.
According to the Washington Post, people in their 30s are still adolescents. So.
Keep up the good work with much love. Lisa and Alexa, please say a prayer. She's a sick kitty. I believe Alexa is a cat.
Oh.
Yes, and she's not feeling well, apparently. So,
producers,
pray for the health of Lisa and the health of perhaps her cat, Alexa.
That's right. Producers, get on the job. We've got Alexa Cat. We need some help with some prayers there. So.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lisa and Alexa.
Yep. Next up, we have Arnold W.
Arnold W. came in with 3333. Fanny pack full of threes. Thank you very much, Arnold W.
Thank you, Arnold W. Next up, we have an anonymous Satoshi giver girl. I don't know. Came in with 33,583 Satoshis.
Illuminati handler Satoshis.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous. Next up, we have...
I forgot to mention, Arnold W. is one of our Illuminati handlers.
Oh, yes. We have multiple of them every show. Next up, producer Rebecca B.
Rebecca B's on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
16 episodes in a row, so Rebecca comes in with 1616. Thank you very much, Rebecca B.
Keep it up. Next, Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you very much. Sir Casey the Shield Knight is also on a streak.
They're on a streak.
47 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Sir Casey.
I only did that because you had your E and your I backwards when you put it in there.
Yeah, that's so cool. So cool of you to do.
Next up, we have Runk Smash.
There he is. Runk Smash just started a streak. It's Eric R. 2 episodes in a row, and a note here. Hey, Basil and Gons, I may string more of these into a coherent narrative like the funny pages, but for us smart folks, I'll try to pick just one, though, to riff off of per episode. No matter how hard you make it with your spicy takes, I might just put them in the PayPal note from here on. You have my permission to slip the note into the art section if it works for you. Nevertheless, as before, here's $2.14, a penny per character. This is Runk Smash's microfiction here. Mm-hmm. And here's the new one. Boing, boing. The sound echoes down the streets as Basil, a lone super buff mechanical arm, dribbles himself down the now dangerously inflated streets. His googly eyes focused intently on, well, nothing in particular. They're kind of darting wildly. Keep bringing us the truth. Eric. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you, producer Eric. I like that one. It's
painting a picture.
Yes. Well, good picture. Next up, producer Juan A.
Thank you very much. Juan A is on a streak.
They're on a streak.
7 episodes in a row coming in with, well, usually we don't read this amount, but it's 10-10. Thank you very much, Juan A.
10-10. Good job. Next up, producer
Good
James.
Job.
Good job, Juan A.
Producing, Juan A.
Next up, James H.
James H. Thank you very much. Glad to have you back on board.
Good to see you back. Next up, Saul A.
Saul A comes in with a pocket full of 777, and a note says, "Hey guys, I have an awesome idea. We all should make a pact. We all should make a pact that one day when this old world passes and the new one gets created, we Canarians should all get together for the ultimate meetup. Maybe Jesus can join if he isn't too busy." Yes. Okay.
Amen. I like that.
Good. Okay, we'll see all you guys on the new earth.
Yes, the new heaven, the new Jerusalem. We will have our ultimate meetup then.
Yes.
Yeah. Good idea. Next up, we have Big Tank.
Big Tank, Canary Cry Trucker. Although we have some interesting news here.
Mm-hmm.
Want to play you got the trucker?
This is Rubber Ducky. What's your 1020? Over. Chuck you. We got us a convoy. Over.
Okay, Big Tank came in with a pocket full of 7s here. Listen up, producers, because the note reads, "Hey, y'all, have a prayer request." Okay, calling out all producers. Big Tank has a request. He says, "I've got a job interview with my local sheriff's department and would like prayer for the Lord's blessings. Thanks and love, y'all." Okay, there you go, producers. Keep Big Tank on the list here for his job interview with the local sheriff's department. Interesting. He was driving trucks. Do the sheriff's department need trucks? Maybe he's driving the prison bus, or maybe he's a sheriff. I don't know.
He's gonna bust out the Optimus Prime from the sheriff's department.
Robo Sheriff. I got a couple tips for you, Big Tank, if you want to get into robo sheriffing. But yes, we'll keep you in prayers. Good luck in the job interview. Thanks, Big Tank.
Yep. Next up, we have producer Veronica D.
Veronica D is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Coming in with show number producership 378. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Just a reminder that the Hawaii meetup is less than a month away, Saturday, September 11th. That's right. Make sure to head on over to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Learn more about the meetups.
Yep.
We'll talk about that more later.
Yep. Next up, producer Scott K.
Scott K's on a streak, of course. 40 episodes in a row. He's almost to 42, and he came in with the 378 show number producership. Thank you very much, Scott.
Very good. Don't mess it up now, Scott K.
Don't mess it up, Scott.
Next up, Johnny R.
Johnny R came in with a pocket full of 3s, 333, and a note. Yo, B&G, you have an email update on the Pikeland meetup. The last time I came in as episode producer, I was trying to give Basil a hard time, but Gons was alone, and it stressed him out. My bad. Some other time. He leaves Daniel 6:15 through 17 KGV. Love y'all. Thank you very much, Johnny R. Do we want to give this Pikeland meetup? Did that happen, or is this a pre-meetup update? I think it was a pre-meetup update.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know who. Okay, I'm connecting dots here now. Yes, we will mention this whole endeavor. This is, yeah, I guess I just didn't see it. This is Pizza Rat, I believe. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we should have thanked Pizza Rat.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Make sure to put your name in these notes, y'all. I'm going to drop in a producer, Gons, and that is producer Malik.
Thank you, producer Malik.
I got you, Malik. If you weren't, if it wasn't the beginning of your streak, you came in a little late, but I got you. Malik is on a streak. 2 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Malik.
All right. Next up, we have Kim W.
Kim W is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
That's right. 31 episodes in a row. Almost to that 33 level. Came in with a pocket full of 3s. Surely she sent in a verse.
Yeah, I didn't see it unless
Did not make it. She usually
saw
goes
one
through
from
the Proton Mail.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm there. She usually, the last one she sent in is on Wednesday.
Okay,
I
well,
think we
Kim
read that
has
one.
the right to just take a breather for once. But
yeah,
let's double check.
I'm
gonna
doing
check
it now.
The Gmail just in case.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't see anything. Okay.
All right. Maybe
There
she
you
forgot
go.
to hit the send button, which is okay. We'll make up for it next time. Kim
That's
W,
okay.
your streak is fine. With
Streak continues.
Yeah, you're good. Next up, Brant W.
Thank you very much, Brant. And Brant just started a streak. 2 episodes in a row, pocket full of 3s. Thanks, Brant.
Good job, Brant. Next up, we have producer Ciara.
Producer Ciara, of course, is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Coming in with a couple of separate producerships here, but a note. Oh, yeah, 10 episodes in a row, of course. And God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. Genesis 1:6. There are actually 2 meetups this weekend. One in Georgia, in person. Oh, a Georgia in-person meetup, and then a Zoom hangout next month. Might be the last Zoom hangout. Okay. Oh, so the Canary Cry community is doing the Zoom hangout tomorrow on Saturday. Next month might be the last Zoom hangout, but I'll keep everyone posted. I'll likely start the meeting after the Bigfoot Museum. That way, those of us hanging out IRL can join the Zoomers. Thank you, Basil and Gons. And then a second note here. Oops. Also, thanks to Over the Rainbow for adding to my fund that I have to keep track of. Put it in good word with the CIA and the Sun God Ra. Okay, there you go. CIA Ra has received the message Over the Rainbow. Yeah, okay, wow. Ciara is doing 2 meetups in one day. The in-person meetup in Georgia and the Zoom meetup right after that. That'll be fun.
Now, the next one, Basil, I'm kind of confused now because I do these things fairly quickly. I need I didn't have an audit.
You need my auditing powers.
Yeah, just to make sure that we don't.
Yeah, this is Orwell 88.
Okay, Orwell 88. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Orwell 88. And we'll hear more from Orwell 88 in a little bit.
Yep.
Unless we have the note about Haram Abif, or Harim Abif, whatever his name is. We'll do that in the jingle section.
Yep. And last but not least, we have Eric B.
Eric B. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric B. Okay. That does it for all the producers on PayPal. I realized I did not put the name of the timestamper for last episode, who was Rachel C., I believe.
Ooh, thank you very much, Rachel C., I believe.
Add that in there. And yes, you can support the show with more than just your treasure. You can do so with your time and talent, just like Rachel C. did with the timestamps for episode 377. But we have a jingle to share with you today.
We have a new jingle.
It's actually a couple jingles. And this first one is a social justice warrior jingle. He sent a long one and a short one. We'll just play the long one here.
I have studied the martial ways of the social justice warrior. Fight me in an argument if you dare. Perish under the sword of my self-righteousness.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's from, I don't know, one of those cartoons, Regular Show, I think was the one who did that. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Orwell 88. Now we have a jingle for those very courageous social justice warriors.
Yeah, and there's a short form that we will probably use whenever we bring up the social justice warriors. But he sent another one here, and this one has a little note. And this note says, here I'm a Biff jingle. Whereabouts came from a Masonic audio poem. You had asked about that in the last episode, Basil.
Yeah.
Rudy Kipling Banquet Night. Carry this message to Hiram Abiff, excellent master of forge and mine. I and the brethren will come to dine, garments from Bosra or morning dress, as fellow craftsmen no more, no less. Link to 42, the Gentiles will trample the city during a span of 42 months. Of course, Revelation 11:2, the 42 months where it was given to the beast to act and blaspheme. Linked to Hiram Abiff, the destruction of the temple. Hiram was the architect of Solomon's temple. We as Christians will carry a message to Hiram Abiff, the sword of truth.
Okay, that makes more sense now. I get it.
Yes.
Yes.
This is very esoteric.
Carry the message to Hiram Abiff, and the message is the sword of truth. Got it.
Yes. And so I have the updated version of it here.
Carry this message to Hiram Abiff.
Hello, boys and girls.
The sword of truth.
There you go.
Okay, makes sense now. Thank you very much, Orwell 88.
Thank you, Orwell 88. And that does it for the jingles, I believe. So we have some art to share as usual.
One art, please.
I'm going to start it off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And just spot on thematically here. Just in time, the Trudeau nut man joined Twitch streamer Zish Session in his Mario Kart Battle Arena, where
Session.
Yeah. Where
G Session. I see.
Or it's she. And some people say it's pronounced she, but I think technically it's G, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's mixing the she session that Trudeau was trying to make a thing.
Right.
And G session, which we know is the real case, which is Xi Jinping.
Yep. Where world conflicts are resolved in real time and live streamed for all to enjoy. One lucky high school Mario Kart playing Shitizen, like a citizen, but a Shitizen,
yeah, okay.
will be chosen to play the winner for a chance to rule the world. So brush up on your skills and get your jabs and wear your masks and do what you're told, eh?
Eh. Sounds like some Canadian data to me.
some slam bang.
Yeah, some slam bang Canadian data.
By the way, kind of on point, there was a movie called Slam Bang in 2009.
Oh.
And the the plot is forced by a corrupt Chinese man to steal information off a computer. An affable IT guy, George, finds himself surrounded by violence and mayhem as he tries to get the disk with information to the crime lord.
Wow. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, 3 out of 10 stars there. So probably not the greatest movie.
Sounds really exciting. Sounds so bad it's good.
Slam Bang, 2009. All right. Okay.
2009? I was going to say it sounds like maybe an early 90s sort of comedy flick, but nope. 2009.
Maybe it was in production since 94 or something and finally made its way.
Who knows?
All right. Well, thank you for this, Allie. It was very apropos as we started with another Trudeau clip at the beginning there. So we appreciate that. Next up, we have Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
Oh, did you have something?
I was just going to say, it's a beautiful portrait of Trudeau.
Yes. Oh yeah, you didn't comment on it really much.
No, I was busy doing some copying and pasting for something later in the show.
Yes. All right, so Dove comes in with the note. He says, wanted to keep with the idea of doing a flyer and sticker design every Friday for the future street team. This week's design take us out to Eastern Europe and reveal a newly unearthed propaganda poster from behind from behind the Iron Curtain. Hope you guys like him. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
That's right. We've got a couple new designs for the street team here. The first one is the I don't know which one. Oh, you're showing that
Comrades.
One. Okay. Yes, the first one is Comrades. Join the fight today. CanaryCry.Party. And we've got the classic fearless leaders, the googly-eyed Stalin and Gons up in the top right wearing their brown shirts there. And then we've got a particularly derpy-looking Eastern European or Russian family with their wandering eyeballs raising the red flag high, CCR. Very well done Soviet-style agitprop poster, leading people to CanaryCry.Party. I love it. The mixed messages of our branding has always been like a key confusing point of what we do.
We got to keep the enemy, confused about what we are all about.
This way we can get some Antifa members listening to the show. Hopefully, just get them to at least partake of another non-brainwashing point of view here. Very good. Thank you very much, producer Sir Dove.
Sir
Dove, yes. And next, on the same track here, we've got the Slavs in tracksuits. Another piece of media that is sure to confuse people into visiting CanaryCry.Party. I will make a small adjustment to this one. Small adjustment request here. The link you have Canary.Cry.Party. It is CanaryCry.Party. You just got to erase with that one little thingy there, but easy fix for you, Dove. But yes, it is it is an illustrated rendition of Sir Igorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs, our most recent Knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable, in his striped tracksuit, his striped PUBG helmet, and of course Adidas striped AK-47
with the derpy canary little logo
on the tracksuit. Yes, very
yeah.
good. Yes, and the tracksuit is in the colors when it was originally black and white, black with white stripes. Now it's navy, the Canary Cry navy with yellow stripes. Very good. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. And we have another piece of art here and this comes with a soundtrack. This is from Jay from They Dwell Beneath the Temples. And Jay sent us a note here. I forgot to throw it into the thing here. And he says, "Good evening, fellas. Submitting my first art piece. Hope you like it. Title, Gonzo, I'm not a bee. I'm a googly-eyed mosquito chimera. Medium, liquid chalk marker on the window at night."
Yeah, this was a new medium. This is our first liquid chalk marker on a window at night. Very interesting medium here.
And Jay from They Dwell Beneath the Temples also sent us an audio clip to go along with this piece.
Okay.
And I have it here.
I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a
basil. That's funny. It's weird to hear your own voice saying your own name. Very strange. Thank you very much. What's the name of this artist?
Jay from They Dwell.
Thank you, Jay. And for those who are just listening, we've got liquid chalk marker, which is very interesting, against the black background, a window at night, some might say. And it's Gons. He's got his boxing gloves. Well, he's got one boxing glove on one hand. His biceps are bulging. And he's got a fly swatter in the other. He's thinking float like a butterfly, sting like a butt. And on the right, we've got a very dazed-looking mosquito basil. And I'm screaming, "It's me, Bizzle!" You're getting a little froggy there with the mosquito. I don't remember why I'm a mosquito, but I remember referencing this. But you got me. And your shirt says "Son of a Bee Sting."
Yeah, that's a good reference to an old.
Don't we have a jingle?
ISO. We do have the. Hold on, if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it off the cuff here.
If I can find
if I can find it, because it's an older one, and I have
Yeah.
to go into the archives there. Let's see.
It's
Son
Christian
of a
cursing.
Bee Sting. Yes, Christian cursing. I don't know that I'm going to be able to pull it off in the short time we have here.
Yes, we should have thought of this before.
Yes,
because
well, hold on, because I'm worried about the B version or whatever this is. What is this? The creepy version of you?
The mosquito.
Yeah, the mosquito version of you. I don't like it because. Nothing? No reaction?
Because why now? What is that? I don't get it. Are you making a reference?
Oh, yes. I win. I called it.
Yeah, what is it?
Called it.
Don't understand.
Okay, if you go into the Red Book, I have a thing that I wrote down, and I said that when you come back, I'm going to play the It Will Kill ISO from the band They Dwell Beneath Temples.
Okay.
And it's They Dwell Beneath the Temples.
Yeah.
And I said I'm going to play it for you, and you're going to be completely confused. And it came to pass.
It's not that incredible of a prediction, Gons.
Doesn't matter. I'll take all I can get.
All right. Yeah. You're right. You got to win something. You guessed it. You played a random song, and
it's not random.
Confused.
It's from They Dwell Beneath the Temples. Jay, the artist of this piece. He's in the band.
Yeah, you got me. You really got me, buddy.
It's all connected. Do you not see the connection here?
I see the connection.
Okay.
I see it. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Yes, the chat is all on board. So yeah. I mean, I'm still confused, and I guess you got me. The chat is very much on your side. So something must have happened while I was gone.
That's right.
Okay. Well, you did it. I'm still confused. The confusion is just building.
Are we going to allow Gail here to continue her streak? Did she
just come in?
Just come in, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll give it to her.
All right. Gail comes in at the last second.
Very literally the last second, Gail. Got in. So thank you very much. And I believe Gail is on a streak.
Yes.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Let's see, where's she at? 16 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Gail. I'll give that to you. Let's see. She also sent a note. She says it was did you get my donation? My streak is threatened. Please check. Okay. We got it.
We got
you.
We got
Thanks,
it,
Gail.
So wait, you said it was 16?
16.
Gail M. Okay, I'm just throwing this in here just to make sure. All right. You're good, Gail. You got in.
All right. Well, we have a knighting to do, Gonzo.
Yes, we do.
Let's do it. So let's see here. I'm going to need to find my VR sword. I'll use the Buster sword today from Final Fantasy VII. That'll really get things going here.
Are you going to find it, or what's the deal here?
I just found it. Here it is.
Okay. All right. Here's my sword here.
All right, we want to call up Michael C. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you, thanks to your generous support. The amount of $1,000 or more seems feasible. We are proud to pronounce you Sir Michael Knights of Busy Bees. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteous righteousness, the custom-fit Birkenstock to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have fancy feast wet food carved, Cosmo the crisper cow, and of course fried wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Knights and Dames Roundtable, Sir Michael, Knight of the Busy Bees. Woo, and the crowd goes wild. And some metal is hitting some other metal. All right. Thank you very much for your support, your ongoing support, Sir Michael, Knight of the Busy Bees, our first crypto night. And yes, your faithfulness has earned you a spot at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. And for those who might be confused, of course, the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames is for those who have committed and have supported the show over time or all at once in the amount of $1,000 or more. It's an elite group of Canary Cry producers. You know, some people do it all at once. Some people do it in, 6 months or a year. Some people took 10 years, and it doesn't matter. They're all the same. And as far as we're concerned, we're very grateful for their support. And you can find a list of the Canary Cry Knights and Dames. What's the link for that, Gons?
It's CanaryCryRadio.com/knighthood. And I'll be adding Sir Michael C. to the list today.
Okie dokie. Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay, before we go, Gons, it's time to read ratings and reviews.
Before we do that, it's time to...
You just played the reverse Uno card on me.
We got to mention meetups real quick.
Okay.
Canary Cry Meetup.
CanaryCryMeetups.com. Get all the information there to start your own meetup. But also, the Georgia meetup is tomorrow, 1 p.m. at the Cherry Log in Georgia, or Cherry Log, Georgia. All the information is there at CanaryCryMeetups.com. Contact Ciara for that one. The Missouri meetup that Ciara is organizing is also on September 11th. And, there was a new... Hold on, let me refresh this page real quick because I added a new flyer that came in, and it was for Washington and Canada Canary Cry meetup. And it is at the Peace...
the border meetup.
Yeah, the Peace Arch National Park, September 25th, 2021. Potluck style hangout at the park. Children are always welcome. Looks like parking lot, $10, but on the street is free. No border crossing necessary. Email ciaralauren93@gmail.com to RSVP.
Cool.
So there you go. And also, there is a Ohio meetup happening on October 30th, NorCal November 6th, SoCal December 4th. The Oregon meetup, which happened in Estacada, a couple weeks ago now, I guess. Producer Kimberly organized that one. Maid Servant of Christ 88 at protonmail.com. Message her if you want to, encourage her to organize another one. It sounded like a really fun time there. The EU meetup, haven't had much of an update from the Hungry Hungarian.
Yeah, let's mention that. If you are in the EU, the Hungry Hungarian, Mr. Jag, is trying to put on an EU meetup. And you can find his contact information there at CanaryCryMeetups.com. If you're in Europe or plan to be in Europe, send an email to, I don't know exactly what it is.
Mr. Jag at protonmail.com.
There you go. Go do that. And you got to put one together. All right. But thanks, Mr. Jag, for making yourself available and wanting to do that.
Yep, and then the Arkansas meetup, there's a date now. September 25th will be the day. We got our note from Pizza Rat, and says this: greetings and salutations, BNG. Hope you're both well. Just quickly taking the opportunity to thank y'all for what you do. It means a lot to me, somewhat by the way of testimonial. I just wanted to share that when I first got in touch and volunteered to put on a Pikeland, Arkansas meetup, I didn't have transportation and was walking 8 miles round trip to work 5 days a week.
Wow.
Ooh, I'm fine with that arrangement since I'm really obsessed with hiking and backpacking, but pounding pavement is different than trail walking, and I'm pushing 40. So I'm not a spring chicken, as they say. I can relate to you. I'm no spring chicken hitting those bags in the boxing gym there with all those 20-year-olds in there. I'm fine with that. Oh, I read that. Since then, I have found a reliable old truck. Exactly what I asked the Lord for from my prayer closet. I absolutely attribute this to Yahweh, as the price of used cars seem to be going up due to inflation. It even has a CD player, so I can bump Destiny Lab with an earshot of all the normies. I'm also making moves to get out of the city and back to the sticks, both to avoid the brunt of predicted lockdowns and mandates. So to some extent, I was stepping out on faith, and he did not disappoint. Everyone who contacted me said they would love to visit the Albert Pike Museum, but it has mysteriously vanished. Albert Pike, probably because Albert Pike is associated with isn't he associated with the white supremacy crowd or the Confederates? I mean, not white supremacy, but Confederates.
I forget what it was. There was a little bit of hullabaloo about him
I think they took down his statue and all that kind of stuff, so it could be why they just got rid of his museum. The date of the meetup will be Saturday, September 25th, and all Canarians are welcome whether they contacted me or not, although sadly the location is still to be announced. I will update y'all as soon as I know more. Again, thank you so much for what you do, and keep up the good work. Your brother in Christ, Pizza Rat.
Okay, thank you very much, Pizza Rat. And there you go, Arkansas peeps. There's going to be a meetup. What's the town?
Looks
something.
Piketown. It's just at Albert Pike's house is what they're planning to do. This is Pikeland. Yeah, Pikeland, Arkansas.
Yeah, Pikeland. Interesting. Do you think that's named for?
Yes, it has to be. It has to be.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, there you go. Arkansas or surrounding areas. Get in touch. Head over to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. And also, I mean, I think we mentioned it already, but tomorrow is the Georgia meetup.
Yep.
So if you're in Georgia or the surrounding areas, head to CanaryCry.Meetups.com and get in touch with Ciara and figure out the deets.
She must already be out there, right? Otherwise, she's
she's
weird
teleporting.
Yeah, I was going to say some technology that we're not privy to. The CIA raw people over there.
Pizza Rat says Pikeland is a nickname for Arkansas.
Oh, interesting.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. All right,
Okay.
and then we have September 11th, Honolulu, Oahu. Contact Veronica D, vdoming2@gmail.com. There's a meetup scheduled for Hawaii. So there you go. That's all the meetups. And thank you all the producers who are stepping out and taking charge with that. It's a wonderful way to gather the people that are like-minded in your local town, or in Ciara's case, just wherever.
We get people asking us all the time if we know anybody in their area who listens, and we don't really know everybody personally, but the best way to meet people in your area who listen to the show and are on the same page is to just put on a meetup, and it's very easy. People ask all the time. You'll see it at CanaryCry.Meetups.com. All you got to do is just decide to do it and tell us your location and give us some contact information, and we'll put it on the website and promote it. And then if people are in your area listening to the show, they will get in touch with you.
The source.
And when you do the meetups, make sure to do a little meetup report. Just use your phone, turn on the voice recording thing, and just pass it around and say hi to us and the rest of the Canarians. We'll play it on the show.
The source of Pikeland is Pizza Rat. He said he made it up.
Oh, okay. Well, see, he's a trendsetter.
He's a trendsetter. He's, he knows his stuff. Okay, so
let's keep moving.
Reviews now, correct?
Yes, reviews now, correct. All right. Thank you to everyone who's been leaving ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Not as much of you as I would have preferred, but
burn.
Gons has told me. Well, yeah, that's a burn on the people who have not left rating and reviews. But those who did do it get my everlasting gratitude and also get their review read on the show. So yes, you told me you did not read any reviews in August while I was gone.
No, I don't think I did.
So I'm going to zoom through the entire month of August. Keep in mind, we were doing great with a quota of 5 reviews a week before I left Gonzo. And then when I did leave, we've gotten 6 in all of August. So we need to rebuild this habit. And those who have not left ratings and reviews, we need to inspire them. And I will do that now by reading some reviews. This one is from Kajijajajaj in the United States. 5 stars. And the review is titled, I used to listen to the Masonic Roundtable to get all of my Masonic news, but now I listen to CCNT. Oh, jeez. I see where this is going.
You have to say it.
Worshipful Master Basil provides great information for the value. I'm so happy when B&G speak about the number 33 because I know they're talking to me. Oh, gosh. And all of their fellow Freemasons.
Oh, no.
J'accuse for being accused. Okay, it's all in good fun. Their value for value model has saved my marriage. The first time I thought this was you. The first time I donated, my wife hit me with a shoe after I explained it was to help my best buddy, Worshipful Master Basil, and the other Masons who listen to this show. She forgave me, and we've been going strong ever since. Thanks for everything you have done for me and my family. And then a bunch of emojis. Okay, I'm on to you. Thank you for the review.
This is the kind of review that like some person later who wants to, they're going to use this and say, they're going to say, see, these guys are shill Freemasons.
Yeah, but alternatively, Gons, when we get canceled or something, we have to do our public pronouncements. We can use this and, ask, is there no help for the widow's son? And then all the Freemasons will come help us.
Good plan, I guess.
Walking the line, baby. All right. Next is 5 stars from Mother of All Rage in the United States.
So
Listening
intense.
to this podcast, listen up, Gons. Listening to this podcast is a privilege. Yes, and privileges can be revoked. Found out about this podcast while listening to Kyle Gray's Drilling Down. Equally awesome, shameless plug. Kyle Gray's Drilling Down. Well, thanks for the plug, Kyle Gray. If you want a biblically sound, grounded truth regarding today's news, you'll find it here. Thrilled at how much God has taught me using this podcast. If you're looking for feel-good fluff, this ain't the place. It's time to wake up, Dorothy. De-zombie your self-help gospel. De-zombie your self-help gospel and learn about current events through a biblical lens. Basil and Gons, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Mother of all rage.
And I forgot to do a little dingling for the so here it is.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Next, we have Cade Inversion from the United States. 5 stars. Wade Inversion. Great podcast. Real news and real commentary beats the mainstream news by a mile. Thank you very much. What is the Wade Inversion?
I don't know.
You want to look that up real quick?
Sure.
I mean, it sounds like something we should know about. Next, we have a review from the John in the United States. 5 stars. Here's another one, folks. Beware the anti-Basil. It started out really good with Basil and Gons talking about the hidden things through the lens of biblical prophecy. By then, the H-thinkable happened. Problems arose when Basil's dinosaur calls were way too effective. Dinosaurs flocked and invaded the time stream continuum where Basil has been forever. I counted. In this lull and absence of Basil from the podcast, I came to a dark and sinister understanding. It was Gons all along. He secretly tasked Flippy Arms to toss dinosaurs into the time stream continuum after Basil went through. He has seized power over the podcast and will reign with an iron fist. He now plans to bring the anti-Basil. Of course, he will say that Basil has come back from the time stream unscathed, but we know this to be the start of the end of the world. He might even say that Basil has miraculously healed after a mortal feasting by dinosaurs. But we know the truth. Using the anti-Basil guns will bring the Canary community back to, quote, normal. And he might even promise a peace, a 7-year peace, that is. You all know what happens next. He who has ears, let them hear. This is purely satire. On a more serious, no kidding. On a more serious note, do not let this show pass you by. On a scale of 2 to 7, it is definitely a 7. Must be a European scale. Both Basil and Gons are great, though. I did really miss the other parent in the podcast when he was away for work in the time stream. That being said, Gons did a great job alone, and on a scale of 6 to 13, he definitely deserves the 13. Keep up the great work. That must have been a Canadian time scale. Thank you very
Coming
much.
up with just things.
Thank you very much, the John.
Thank you, John.
Seems like a fun guy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, good times. I looked
Next.
up Wade inversion. The only thing I can find is the Roe versus Wade inversion. Roe versus Wade.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably more to it. I don't know.
Something we're missing.
Yeah.
Next, William Wallace III from the United States.
Ooh.
5 stars, top-notch news commentary. This show is a must-listen for anyone looking for wholesome skepticism of world news with balanced views. Funny and fun while incredibly informative. Highly recommended for those seeking something different from mainstream propaganda that can satisfy the journalistic responsibility of meeting the burden of proof. Sources provided live in real time and speculation identified when in use. Very refreshing indeed. Yes, thank you for pointing those things out. We try very hard.
Oh, William Wallace III, too. This is fantastic. I like Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Canceled. Next, we have Gail Mack. Gail I. Mack. Gaily Mack from the United States. I wonder, this probably Gail M. Probably. 5 stars. I be Gonzo Basiled. Oh, yes. This is definitely Gail. I be Gonzo Basiled, and you can be too. I was a dazed and confused for so long searching for that trusted source of world news that could help me understand all the what, who, when, where, how, and why. But then, one day, it happened. I got Canary dazed, bonzo gazzled, where the truth is being delivered with a side order of humor, and it never sounded so honest. Thank you. You are my sunshine. With much love from Gaily Mack, San Mateo, California. Thank you very much, Gail. Appreciate everything you do for the show.
Thank you.
And there you go. That's all of the reviews for August. And I would take the opportunity to plead with everybody. For next week, by next Friday, we're going to try to get 5 ratings and reviews. I know it may seem unimportant to you, dear listener, but it is incredibly important to us. That's why we read them and thank everybody individually, because when you get a certain amount of reviews every week, it activates the algorithms on the podcatchers and shares the show with people who have never listened to it before. And it is one of the more useful sort of part of the system for bringing the show to new people. And so if you want to participate in helping new people find the show, please leave a rating and a review. You can do that on anywhere, but if you have an Apple product, whether it's a tablet or a phone or a computer, just search Apple Podcasts on your device, and it's a purple icon. Click on that, search for Canary Cry News Talk, subscribe to it, and then leave a rating and a review. We are so appreciative to everyone who does that. Thank you very much.
All right, are we ready to wake up?
I'm ready.
Waking up now. No, now. What's going on?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
I don't know what was happening. There's issues there. All right, we got quickly, politic.
It's Latin for many. They'll suck your blood. They'll suck your blood.
Starting off quick from NPR.org. The headline, man who claimed to have a bomb near the U.S. Capitol surrenders. Dun, dun, dun. A man who claimed to have a bomb in his pickup truck in front of the Library of Congress has surrendered, ending an hours-long standoff on Thursday. You know, the headline makes you think that it's the actual Capitol building, but this is the Library of Congress. Are those near each other? Do you want to do a little bit of a research on that real quick?
Sure.
The suspect, identified by authorities as Floyd Ray Roseberry, interesting, 49, from Grover, North Carolina, NC, is now in custody. Quote, he gave up, did not resist, and our folks were able to take him into custody. U.S. Capitol Police Chief J. Thomas Manger said Thursday, quote, we don't know what his motives are at this time. Manger said police negotiated with Roseberry by writing on a whiteboard. Eventually, police used a robot in an attempt to give him a phone to communicate with. But Manger said Roseberry declined to use it. Manger said shortly afterward, Roseberry got out of the vehicle and he was taken into custody without incident. The truck has been removed from the scene. The U.S. Capitol Police did not find a bomb in the vehicle, but said that, quote, possible bomb-making material were collected from the truck. Manger said that Roseberry's mother had recently died and that, according to his family, quote, there were other issues that he was dealing with. Facebook removed the suspect's profile and deactivated his live stream. Earlier Thursday, law enforcement officers from Cleveland County, NC, as well as federal law enforcement officials went to Roseberry's residence, and Philip Todd, chief deputy of the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, quote, as far as I know, the FBI has interviewed the wife and she is cooperating, Todd told NPR's Carrie Johnson. Several hours later, the report of the incident, Facebook said it had deactivated a live stream purportedly of the suspect in his truck. Quote, not only deactivated the live stream, but we also removed his profile from Facebook and are continuing to investigate. Andy Stone, director of policy communications at Facebook, said on Twitter. That's a funny thing. In at least one of the videos, a man can be seen making anti-government remarks, as well as saying he had ammonium nitrate in his truck's toolbox. Lawmakers are mostly away from Washington for August recess. Manger told reporters, blah, blah, blah. Then it kind of goes into nothing, actually. The bomb threat came as Congress continues to investigate the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, when a mob of demonstrators supporting the then President Donald Trump stormed the building. As a result of the threat, several streets in the area were closed, as well as nearby buildings, including the U.S. Supreme Court and Congress. The FBI said its Washington field office responded to the incident, along with agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Neither the House of Representatives nor the Senate is in session, and most lawmakers are not in their offices. Yeah, that's interesting. They're like, nobody was actually in any danger, but you got to get the crazy guy when you can.
Yep. Sorry, I'm still trying to find the. I think they all are very pretty close here. I've never been there myself, so I don't know the exact layout, but
they have a picture of the truck, and it sure looks like the Capitol building. But they didn't say the Capitol building. They said it's the Library of Congress. So
yeah, I think
I don't know. It doesn't sound like this was really a real threat in the first place.
Yeah.
And it sounds like his threats were made on Facebook, on live, which, them trying to bring him a phone to communicate. Did he not have a phone?
Well,
I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Considering all the heat that President Biden is under with the whole Afghanistan move, and Kamala just MIA, our vice president is missing somewhere. Right. I don't know where she is. They needed to buy some time. This is a good opportunity to go in the ice bath. Biden get a little recharge, go sleep it off a little bit, and come back out a little later to address the nation. I don't know. It just seems like this is a distraction amongst distractions. Obviously Afghanistan is some kind of distraction for something else, and now we have this to distract from that distraction. It just feels like
it seems like a non-threat.
It's a non-threat that they made a huge deal to have more sympathy for the narrative and all that kind of stuff. I did see I want to double check this real quick because somebody was saying that Owen Schroyer, InfoWars host, and a gentleman I shared the stage with a couple years ago at a conference.
Yeah, he was arrested.
He was arrested. InfoWars Owen Schroyer. Okay, he's been charged. Let's see what it says here. Charged in the January 6 riots. Wow. Okay, that happened today. A new complaint filed on Friday. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington charged Schroyer with illegally going into a restricted area on the Capitol grounds and disorderly conduct. He's one of the highest profile right-wing media personalities to be prosecuted in connection with the insurrection so far. Schroyer, based in Texas, had been photographed on stage outside the Capitol with right-wing activist and InfoWars founder Alex Jones. And the FBI said they received an anonymous tip from someone noting another video that appeared to show Schroyer at the top of a set of stairs on the east side of the Capitol. Jones has not been charged. Well, yeah, because he's part of the crew there.
Yeah, because he's on the payroll.
Schroyer, he's interesting. I mean, did he go inside or was he just in a spot that he wasn't supposed to be? I don't know, man.
I have no idea. If he's going in there at all, if he entered the foyer, they could say whatever they want.
I know. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that, they got a picture of him getting arrested, it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sure, he's kind of a fiery guy. I'm sure he was spitting stuff out about freedom and Constitution and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, it's one of those things. I think a lot of these people were set up to have this done to them, basically. And,
whether they were set up or not, there certainly is a lot of choosiness going on with what gets attention and what doesn't.
Sure.
Gons, I need you to take this next article because I cannot go another second without going to the restroom.
Okay.
So I'm going to take away my video and stuff, and I'll see you guys in a second.
Leaving me alone once again. All right.
You got this, bro.
I like how you're still there, kind of, in audio. All right. This one is from Reuters. It's mirrored on MSN.com. Exclusive: FBI finds scant evidence U.S. Capitol attack was coordinated, according to sources. The FBI has found scant evidence that the January 6 attack on the U.S. Capitol was a result of an organized plot to overturn the presidential election result, according to 4 current and former law enforcement officials. Though federal officials have arrested more than 570 alleged participants, the FBI at this point believes the violence was not centrally coordinated by far-right groups or prominent supporters of then-President Donald Trump, according to the sources who have been either directly involved in or briefed regularly on the wide-ranging investigations. Quote, 90 to 95% of these are one-off cases, said a former senior law enforcement official with knowledge of the investigation. Quote, then you have 5% maybe of these militia groups that were more closely organized, but there was no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all these people to storm the Capitol and take hostages. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there was. It's true that no one ever said take hostages. I don't even know. I mean, it's kind of tearing down a straw man at that point. Stone, a veteran Republican operative, blah. Okay, we know about Stone. FBI investigators did find that cells of protesters, including followers of the far-right Oath Keepers and Proud Boys groups, had aimed to break into the Capitol, but they found no evidence that the groups had serious plans about what to do if they made it inside, the sources said. Prosecutors have filed conspiracy charges against 40 of these defendants, alleging that they engaged in some degree of planning before the attack. They alleged that one Proud Boy leader recruited members and urged them to stockpile bulletproof vests and other military-style equipment in the weeks before the attack on January 6. Yada, yada, yada. I think it gets into this. I think the point here is that the FBI were the most active in organizing a type of Capitol insurrection.
Or at least were involved. I mean, this is, as we know, part of the MO where they have insiders. They had a dozen FBI informants involved in the Whitmer plan, which is twice as much as the people who were not FBI informants. It's obvious that they had FBI either at least informants involved in this crowd. And yeah, when people are kind of onto you that you might be involved in coordination, it does behoove you to do an investigation and find that there was no coordination. So how could we be involved?
Yeah, well, they have percentages here that they mentioned. The article here said that 90... Where was that? I just read it a few seconds ago here. Oh, I can't find it now. I like how that happens every time. All right, I don't know. I can't find it. But basically, it was like 95% were one-offs, and then 5% were some militant groups, although they had no agenda. Ooh, no agenda. Once they got, like, if they even broke in, they didn't like plan anything. They didn't plan to take anybody hostage. And it's like, well, yeah, nobody ever. I don't know.
They
it's just
stayed
ridiculous.
within the velvet ropes.
They took pictures of the statues.
Anything. There was like 2 people who, one guy spray painted a sign of a sandwich board of some kind, and one picture of a guy with zip ties that sort of led the entire narrative.
Yeah.
And so no surprise.
I think this is the FBI kind of investigating themselves on some level and saying, oh, we don't, because otherwise their hand is caught in the cookie jar. So they're like, whoa, we don't know. I guess nobody planned anything, because the only people that planned anything was probably influenced by the FBI. So
right. Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. Good job, FBI. You're working so hard.
But don't worry, they got this guy in his truck.
yeah, the guy at the truck with the Facebook stream saying he's going to do stuff. This is a clip of Sec Austin, basically saying that they don't have the capacity to gather Americans stuck in Afghanistan.
A distinction, Bar, between extracting someone in an in extremis condition or circumstance versus going out and collecting up large numbers of American citizens.
Do you have the capability to go out and collect Americans?
We don't have the capability to go out and collect up large numbers of people, Bar.
How many Americans are over there? Like when they talk about
7
large
million.
numbers, they're acting like there's whole towns filled with Americans that need to be saved.
Yeah, and to piggyback on this, and by the way, my first thought with this was like, is this why Elon busted out the Tesla bot? They can just bring, hey, I got some bots. Why don't we just send them in to try to save them?
Yeah, get the bots out there.
Yeah.
It's like the episode, what was it? Star Wars episode, which one was it? 1? That had the droid wars, the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars is
Droid Wars with the Gungans. It was the Gungans versus the Droid Army.
I thought that was like episode 2 or 3. I think
it might be 2. Yeah, it might be one of those. Whatever one it was awesome. Jar Jar Binks, best Star Wars character ever.
Gosh.
Jar Jar lives, baby.
Oh no.
Just trying to trigger people. Just send the bots out.
Send the bots out. Because, well, in the meantime too, they're gonna have to pay for it because according to this Politico article that has nothing to do with the topic that we're going to talk about, the headline of this article is exclusive. Biden's Iran envoy calls nuclear deal's fate. One big question mark. Okay, but all right, we're talking about the Iran deal. But in this article, there is a segment titled "Evacuation Flights Not Guaranteed to Be Free."
Yay!
And it says this: even though
this is America, baby,
America, where everything costs money. Even though U.S. officials tell NatSec Daily and others that evacuation flights from Kabul will be free, people trying to catch a plane in the Afghan capital say differently. One person said State Department staff were seeking large payments up to $2,000 from American passengers and even more for non-U.S. passengers or non-U.S. citizens. When we relayed what this person told us to the State Department, the spokesperson didn't deny that this is happening. Quote, U.S. law requires that evacuation assistance to private U.S. citizens or third country nationals be provided, quote, on a reimbursable basis to the maximum extent practicable. The situation is extremely fluid, and we are working to overcome obstacles as they rise, the spokesperson said. In other words, the Biden administration may request payment for evacuation flights.
Hey, there's a way to monetize the getting out of Afghanistan.
How are you going to pay for? How are you going to pay for the infrastructure bill
to get out of the country?
Yeah, what's a way to pay for that infrastructure bill? Well, we can charge all those Americans stuck in Afghanistan a couple grand a head. It's got to add up to a few million, right?
I mean, look, you got to pay for the flights and everything, but
I thought that's what we're paying for with our tax money.
I was going to say, it sounds like some tax dollars should be paying for this. But yeah, I mean, how crazy would that be? What if they can't? What if they don't have $2,000? You're just going to leave them at the tarmac of the Kabul airport?
That
is crazy.
And do they have to have that $2,000 on them, or like what? Can you just take it out of my paycheck since I'm?
Maybe they sign some sort of agreement or something. I don't know.
That's weird.
But again, it goes back to the question: how many non-military American? I wonder if it's like. Like the what are they? The mercenaries, the private security forces, who is it? BlackRock.
Oh.
Because we've been bragging about only having 2,500 troops there for like a decade, but as we know, there's been private security firms, tons of them over there. So I wonder if it's just like a bunch of private mercenaries who have to pay $2,000 to get out of the country.
John Kirby, Pentagon press secretary, estimates between
Blackwater. Sorry, not BlackRock, Blackwater.
Between 5,000 and 10,000 Americans are stuck near Kabul after the rapid takeover.
Yeah, these are military contractors that are just trapped there, and they were not part of the military pullout, so they're just stuck there as private citizens. Wow, that is a lot.
I mean, 5,000 times 2,000 is $10 million.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you pay for you get $10 million from all the mercenaries.
And that's minimum.
Guarding the poppies.
And that's minimum, because if you get the non-U.S. people out of there, then what are you going to charge? Double, probably? You can make a good 50 mil. Yeah. Solid 50 mil, Biden.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
I mean, it makes sense. I was just curious, like, who the heck is over there?
Yeah.
It's got to be the Blackwater guys.
Well, meanwhile, on American soil.
Are you even woke?
Woke up, man.
Yeah. Am I doing this one?
Yes, please.
I don't know if I've heard that jingle before.
Oh.
Did that come in while I was gone?
Maybe, yeah. It's the new woke jingle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like it. USnews.com headline: 8th graders lead effort to pardon wrongly convicted witch. Okay. Here we go. This is in Boston.
I need my witchcraft.
Oh, yeah.
Jingle, too.
Should be Praketin Witchcraft.
Yeah, I got it somewhere here. Read the story and I'll find it.
More than 3 centuries after a Massachusetts woman was wrongly convicted of witchcraft and sentenced to death, she's finally on the verge of being exonerated, thanks to a curious 8th grade civics class. State Senator Diano DiZoglio, a Democrat from Methuen, has introduced legislation to clear the name of Elizabeth Johnson Jr., who was condemned in 1693 at the height of the Salem witch trials, but never executed. DiZoglio says she was inspired Did they just say she was executed? Sentenced to death. Okay.
She was sentenced to death. She was never followed
executed.
through. Yeah.
Then what's the deal? Sounds like she was already exonerated. DiZoglio says she was inspired by sleuthing done by a group of 13 and 14-year-olds at North Andover Middle School. Civics teacher Carrie Lapierre. Students painstakingly researched Johnson and the steps that would need to be taken to make sure she was formally pardoned. Quote, "It is important that we work to correct history." Correct history? How social justice warrior is that? We got to correct history. History can't just exist. We have to go back and correct it. DiZoglio said Wednesday, quote, "We'll never be able to change what happened to these victims." That is how time works. But at the very least, we can set the record straight. If lawmakers approve the measure, Johnson will be the last accused witch to be cleared. The last one. Okay. They're like, okay, we'll give you this one, but no more. These witches get what they got. According to Witches of Massachusetts Bay, a group devoted to the history and lore of the 17th century witch hunts, 20 people from Salem and neighboring towns were killed and hundreds of others accused during a frenzy of Puritan injustice that began in 1692, stoked by superstition, fear of disease, and strangers, scapegoating, and petty jealousies. 19 were hanged and one man was crushed to death by rocks. Whoops. In the 328 years that have ensued, dozens of suspects officially were cleared, including Johnson's own mother, the daughter of a minister whose conviction eventually was reversed, but for some reason Johnson's name wasn't included in various legislative attempts to set the record straight. Johnson was 22 when she was caught up in the hysteria of the witch trials and sentenced to hang. It never happened. Then Gov. William Phipps threw out her punishment as the magnitude of the gross miscarriages of justice in Salem sank in. But because she wasn't among those whose convictions were formally set aside, hers still technically stands. Okay. Quote, "Why Elizabeth was not exonerated is unclear, but no action was ever taken on her behalf by the General Assembly or the courts," DiZoglio said, quote, "possibly because she was neither a wife nor a mother. She was not considered worthy of having her name cleared, and because she never had children, there is no group of descendants acting on her behalf." Her bill would tweak 1957 legislation, amended in 2001, to include Johnson among others who were pardoned after being wrongly accused and convicted of witchcraft. In 2017, officials unveiled a semicircular stone wall memorial inscribed with the names of people hanged at the site in Salem known as Proctor's Ledge. It was funded in part by donations from descendants of those accused of being witches. Lapierre, the teacher, said some of her students initially were ambivalent about the effort to no kidding.
Smart kids.
Yeah, these kids got other things to worry about.
Kids are probably like, what? What are we doing? Why?
Like, hey, look, man, I'm just trying to survive middle school and not die of COVID. I don't care about these witches. Lapierre, the teacher, said some of her students initially, it sounds like it was Lapierre's project. The students were just sort of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I like how the headline's all 8th graders lead the charge when it's actually this like weird teacher using children to vicariously carry out this thing.
Does seem to be the case. Lapierre, the teacher, said some of her students initially were ambivalent about the efforts to exonerate Johnson because they launched it before the 2020 presidential election and at a time when COVID-19 pandemic was raging.
It was raging. I don't remember the pandemic raging.
About the pandemic and Trump, and their teacher is like, yes, but what about the witches?
From 328 years ago.
Quote, some of the conversation was, why are we doing this? She's dead. Isn't there more important stuff going on in the world, she said? But they came around to the idea that it's important that in some small way we could do this one thing.
I like how the kids are all, yeah, I guess.
There's so much going on. Orange Man bad. COVID-19. What are you doing, Lapierre? Anyways, that's the end of the article.
I have studied the martial ways of the social justice warrior. Fight me in an argument if you dare.
This girl must be practicing witchcraft.
100% Lapierre.
Yeah.
Practicing witchcraft, and
Lapierre is a little too invested.
I'm sure she conjured some spirit, and some spirit was like, you must exonerate your ancestors in sisterhood or whatever. All right. Well, we got one more here, and this is a Nephilim update.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
JerusalemPost.com. Jerusalem Artist House's new exhibit is an evocative emotional display.
Ooh.
Yeah. Evocative, yeah. I don't want to read the whole thing. Let me get to the main parts here, but I'll just read the first paragraph to get it going. Having viewed numerous exhibition lineups at the Jerusalem Artists House over the years, I can declare wholeheartedly that under the steady hand of director Ruth Zadka, the venerable institution has produced its fair share of intriguing, thought-provoking rollouts. However, I have never felt such a seamless, common thematic sensibility as that which fuses the current quartet of shows. Quote, "It wasn't planned that way," says Zadka. "You know, sometimes you start something and you don't know how it'll work out." Sounds like a pretty concise definition of the artistic process in general. And it goes into this artist named what is the name of this artist here? Oh, come on, what's his name? I had it here a moment ago. Oh boy. All right.
Oh boy.
I'm having issues now. I thought it was Omer something. Omer, come on, Omer, where are you? Anyway, so there's this one exhibit, and then there's this other exhibit. There's a pervading sense of yin-yang counterbalance between heavy air and the neighboring Nephilim showing by Noam Omer. There it is.
Ooh.
It is a suitably named spread with a reference to the biblical outsized characters, inferring great physical strength but also vulnerability, much like Ron Gilboa's offering. There's a quote, "There's a common denominator between the two exhibitions," Zadka posits. Itai, which is the first one, sets boundaries as he also breaches those boundaries. Noam, meanwhile, also has borders and exceeds them. Then again, there are some marked discrepancies between the adjoining shows, too. While Ron Gilboa infuses his works with delicacy and fragility, Omer exudes a relentless, feral bent which threatens to spill out of control. Quote, "At first glance, Noam Omer's works elicit an experience of excess, a surplus of images, an inundation, flood, eruption, visual blast, a congestion of lines referring to lines, stains referring to stains," says Samel, who incidentally also curated Nephilim. "Omer is a total artist," she adds.
Wow.
It goes into the first one about first piece of art here, Father Crucified. There's Christian iconography. Things are a little less intense in the second Nephilim display space over at the far end of the Ron Giblio exhibition. While the largely monochromic elements of the canvases recur here, the ceramic bowls and plates are generally more colorful and hence convey a softer ethos. That is not to say that the energy level drops here, but the pottery paint polychromy is easier on the eye. Wow. And, it gets into all the details here. It's an art article, obviously. So I wanted to kind of check out what the art thing was. So I went to art.org.il for Israel. And here's the Omer Noam Nephilim display. It's on display until October 2nd. For anybody who's in Israel right now who can go here. And it says here, the works of Noam Omer's exhibition addresses a tragic, grotesque experience of existence. Threatening hints hover over unconventional figures depicted as Nephilim, gigantic creatures with a distorted shape, subjected to various states of threat, calling to mind end situations. The threat distorts the figures, causing them to lose their balance, appearance, and become caricatures of themselves. Growing ugly, they expose inhuman aspects. Omer's works blend different representations of time, striving for simultaneity, a new virtual time, transpiring in no place, furnishing a sense of a common cybernetic space, combined with the act of creation and observation. The works consist of systems of symbols incomprehensible to the viewer, hence disconcerting. The constant oscillation between the tragic and the mundane, the absurd and the logical underlies his oeuvre at large, lending it its unique character. And for those of you watching, you can see some examples of the Nephilim art. And this first one here is called The Birth of Venus. Do you want to describe what's happening, Basil, as we do in the art segment of the show?
I don't think I can.
Yeah, it's
we've got a big naked person in the middle, and it's very squiggly. For those who are just listening, it's very squiggly, very difficult to comprehend. And then we've got some sort of gremlin, hunched over, elongated, other spooky, squiggly people on either side. There's some red in there. There's some green. It's all very squiggly. And nope, that's about as good as I can do.
There's another one called Father with Fish.
Okay.
There's a black and white one. There's a man with fish.
Yes, still very squiggly.
Yeah, I would say there's like a psychedelic element to this. It's got like the squiggly kind of bendy.
That. Looks like they ran it through Google's deep mind.
Yeah, very much so.
It almost just looks like a filter. Like they just took a spooky picture and put a squiggly filter on it.
This one is called Lucien with Bird.
Ah, yes, another squiggly man. And there, as promised, there is a bird.
A bird, yeah. And then last but not least, there is the Nephilim in porcelain.
Oh.
It looks like a monkey creature man.
This is
head.
A collectible plate
that
you can put on the shelf with the rest of your mother's china. And it looks like a monkey. Yes, a squiggly monkey. There's some red. And there's some orange. Yeah, you know what? I try to be appreciative of the squiggly stuff. It's definitely squiggly. I would have written a much shorter article about this squiggly jumble.
Yeah, it's almost like the disembodied aspect of the spirits of the Nephilim are just
I was kind of
splashed.
hoping for something a little bit more identifiably Nephilim.
Yeah. Well, nope, that's not what you get. You get squiggly red colored.
Squiggly monkey, red. Lots of red and squiggles. Okay, well, there you go. That's the Nephilim art project for you.
Mm-hmm. And, on display in Israel.
That's right. They're making a big deal about these Nephilim. All right. You ready to go box?
If I make it in time, sure.
Let's get you out and let's get you there.
Yep.
We can't fail Rudy.
I know Rudy.
Right,
Rudy's going to yell at me.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Monday, the 23rd of August. So make sure to be here. And here's the thing, folks. We're going to need some producers for next episode. So if you have never produced before, why don't you pray about it? See if the Lord lays something on your heart to support the show. And I can't wait to see who comes through. But I want to thank our producers for this episode 378. That's our executive producer, Sir Michael, Knight of the Busy Bees, baby. Thank you very much. Our Crypto Knight, and congratulations for making knighthood. Also, we have our associate executive producer, Sarah S., Lisa and Alexa the Cat, Arnold W., Anonymous, Rebecca B., Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Runk Smash, that's Eric, thank you very much, Juan A., James H., Malik W., Saul A., Big Tank, Veronica D., Scott K., Pizza Rat, Kim W., Brant W., Gail M., Ciara, Orwell88, and Eric B. Thank you all for producing the show. We can literally only keep doing this show as long as the producers keep producing. So whenever you guys want the show to just end and go away, all you got to do is just stop producing the show. See, Gons, that's a little bit of reverse psychology. I learned that from Bugs Bunny. Let's see here. Yes, so you can produce the show by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT, or if you don't like Patreon, head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
That's right, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. And you can also support the show with your creativity. If you're an artist or a musician or a sound tech person and you want to create music or jingles or graphic art, go ahead and do it. Create it for the show, by the show, and we'll feature it on the show. We appreciate our Canary Cry creatives very much. If you create something and want it on the show, just send it on over to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or CanaryCryRadio@ProtonMail.com if you like to keep it secret. And remember, we need 5 ratings and reviews by next Friday. Come on, folks. You've been resisting the siren song of leaving a rating and a review for too long. Go leave one. Let's try to get 5 by next Friday. Thank you very much. I can't wait to read what you guys come up with next. And I can't wait for brand new, unsuspecting people to be introduced to the show because of your ratings and reviews. Now, you can also support the show just by sharing it. Share it with people. Put it on your social media. Share it with friends. Send it directly to someone's cell phone, or transcribe it onto papyrus, put it into some clay jars, bury it in the desert, and somebody will find it ages from now. Either way, no matter how you like to share the show, go ahead and do it. You got friends and family who are waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And if you want to help them out, we call it rattling cages. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Yeah. Long ago, and many times and in many ways, God spoke to our fathers by the prophets. Hebrews 1:1.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Take that with you on the weekend, dude.
Take that with you. All right, everybody. Remember, we'll be back on Monday. That's August 23rd. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, hang outside the cage. Go forth and rattle the cages.
Screw you, freedom.
Are you even woke?
State and federal health officials.
I do it with everyone.
Boy, it's really a productive segment, man.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo.
Screw your freedom.
You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo.
Alien.
You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
I do with every black and white, young and old, straight and LGBTQ, powerful people, friends, strangers, people who I meet on the street. Aliens. Screw your freedom. Screw your freedom.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffles.
Vaccinations.
Yeah, you, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!